When we first came here, it was called Strawberry Hill. It was a half-mile dirt. Seated 7,500, almost. Tonight, it's a 3/4-mile racetrack. 82,000 people bought their seats 7 weeks in advance to see the greatest stock car drivers in the world. The Miller Genuine Draft 400. That's tonight on TBS. The weather, it's perfect. Temperature, high 70s. Not a cloud in the sky as we settle down to watch race number 24 in the 31-race series of Winston Cup 1995. Hello, everyone. Ken Squire, and delighted to have you with us. It's been an exciting season. Certainly, last week, Darlington was a great example. Along comes Jeff Gordon and takes a big step. He didn't deliver a knockout punch, but he certainly has the competition a little wobbly. Dale Earnhardt looking for his 10th win at Darlington. Came home just a bit short. Gordon has a 217-point advantage over second place, 294 over third. And as much as Gordon is the story is here, a lot of people are saying, although they seem to have made up, there have been some nice stories in the paper, that there's still a high water mark of intensity. And perhaps it can be taken out here tonight between Wallace and Earnhardt. And so, to our analysts tonight, 6-time winner in Grand National this year from Spokane, Washington, Chad Little. The question is this the kind of track where you want to do a payback?
Well, you know, we always talk about on and off the racetrack, the driver's a friend, but I'll tell you what, when the green flag flies, there's no friends out there. It's every man for himself, and at Richmond, you can have a lot of excitement. You
sure can before this one is over, and one of the stories that is overlooked all the time, just sort of naturally happens, is the story of the guy in second place. That's Sterling Marlin. Not only is he just 217 points back, and let's not forget that when Bill Elliott won the title back in '85, he was 206 points back at this point and won by 101. This guy, Sterling Marlin, doesn't have one DNF. And to the editor of Stock Car Magazine, the issue with Sterling Marlin, he tonight could be the big factor here.
Sterling Marlin, Ken, is having the best season of his entire career, riding second in points. He has won 3 races. But to close that 217-point gap, he is going to have to run very hard. There's only a 25-point difference between first and fifth in any of the 8 races remaining. So Sterling Marlin's strategy for tonight, he says he's going to run Richmond harder than he has ever run it in his life.
He has an ace up his sleeve when he has Tony Glover as a crew chief down there on pit road. And so, for that matter, many people say that the reason Jeff Gordon is so strong is because of those Rainbow Warriors, and one man in particular who's standing by right now with Randy Pemberton.
Well, Ken, you're exactly right. There's not a driver in the field that will tell you they can run up front or win races without a great team. And the leader of the Rainbow Warriors, Ray Evernham. The question is, Ray, you had a lot of practice here. How good are you tonight? Can you win number 7?
Well, we're going to try and win number 7. There's a lot of good cars here. We weren't as good as we wanted to be in the last practice. We made a couple of changes. The track's going to change. We've just got to keep after it. I know that Jeff has learned a lot about driving short tracks, and we've got a good pit crew. And, you know, the Lord willing, maybe we can get number 7 tonight.
Okay, good luck to you tonight. And they'll probably have to beat the guy that's on the pole this evening, and that car is prepared by the man that's standing by with my colleague on pit road tonight, Steve Burns. Steve?
Randy, Dale Earnhardt is on the pole, his 3rd pole of the year. He's in a brand new race car. Andy Petrie, the crew chief, had this car up here 2 weeks ago. They ran 314 laps, and Andy, I heard Dale say yesterday, this car is good. All he did was put his hands on the steering wheel.
Well, I don't know about that. He did a good job qualifying himself. I hate to take too much of the credit, from the crew, because he did a really good job of qualifying. It's a brand new race car, and the guys back at the shop did a real good job. Bobby Hutchins and all his guys. And really like to thank them. That's the 2nd car we brought to the racetrack, brand new, and set on the pole with this year.
You're 289 points back. Is it too late to get in this championship race?
Well, I wouldn't cut the check just yet. I'd wait till they run all the races. We're going to do the best we can. I'm sure those guys are too. They've put up a nice season and a good number so far, but it's not over yet, and we're going to keep digging until it's over.
Well, best of luck, and let's go back upstairs to Ken Squire.
And there's one of the men everybody is talking about. He is driving a car named Ronnie in memory of Ronnie Hopkins. Starting 7th tonight will be Rusty Wallace in the Miller 400.
You're looking live at Richmond International Raceway under the lights in Richmond, Virginia on TBS Sports for the Miller Genuine Draft 400. 38 Winston Cup cars and drivers ready to go in just a couple of moments here tonight. I'm Rick Benjamin in the STP Communication Center. Great to have you with us tonight. We are looking forward to a terrific night of racing. These Saturday night events in Richmond, it doesn't get any better than this. It'll be tight. It'll be close. It'll be hard fought all evening long, and we're glad you're with us here tonight. Going to show you some of the things you can look forward to tonight. Among the stories we're following, we've mentioned the point battle. Jeff Gordon, the point leader after his victory last week, now 217 points ahead of Marlin. You see Earnhardt not quite 300 back. Martin, Musgrave, Terry Labonte, the top 6. This one may be settled, though, pretty much among the top 4 drivers as the season winds down. Your second 6, Rusty Wallace, who had that battle with Earnhardt the last 2 weeks. Michael Waltrip with a good year. Bobby Labonte, who's won a couple of times this year. Morgan Shepherd, Bill Elliott, still looking for their first victories. And Dale Jarrett, who has won once at Pocono earlier this year. Let's show you now our AutoZone race analysis. This is a 3/4-mile speedway. Very interesting racetrack. We'll go 400 laps, which is 300 miles here tonight. 14 degrees, the banking in the corners, and these are very different corners. We'll show you a picture of that in just a moment. The purse tonight, not quite $1.1 million. Very, very healthy amount of money these drivers will go for tonight on the short track here at Richmond International Raceway. Now, last year, the pole went to Ted Musgrave at 124 and some change. This year's pole speed a little off. Dale Earnhardt at 122.5. Last year's winner, of course, Terry Labonte. In fact, he's won 2 in a row here on TBS at Richmond. But the driver with the most wins active tonight, Darrell Waltrip, 6 victories for DW, and he has a very good starting position tonight. Ken Squire will talk more about that in a couple of moments. We're going to take a look now at the complete starting lineup. Ken, I think we've got a very interesting field of 38 cars lined up ready to go tonight.
Yes, and because that we had a late practice period here today, they're just a tad behind in getting the engines fired. This is the first time I can ever recall that happening here. Take that with the end of the command, and there's Dale Earnhardt reaching for the switch. Jeff Gordon ready to do business. Crowd is up, and so are the hopes of 38 drivers as we get ready to go racing. In our starting grid tonight, Dale Earnhardt on the pole for the 20th time in his career. Starting beside him, the 6-time winner this year, Jeff Gordon. In row 2, looking for his first win since 1991, Ken Schrader. And the rookie, Robert Presley, is right there flanking him. In row 3, it's Mark Martin from Arkansas. And from Wisconsin, Dave Marcus, twice a winner here at Richmond. In row 4, Rusty Wallace, a 3-time winner of this event, and Sterling Marlin, the defending Daytona champion. In row 5 tonight, from Tennessee comes Bobby Hamilton, and from Wisconsin, Ted Musgrave. In row 6, it's Brett Bodine, and a former winner here at Richmond, Ricky Rudd. Row 7 tonight is Kenny Wallace and Derek Cope. In row 8, a 4-time winner of this Miller Genuine Draft 400, Darrell Waltrip and Rick Mast. In row 9, it's Bobby Labonte, who won at Charlotte in Michigan earlier this year for Joe Gibbs, and Joe Nemechek from Florida. In row 10, Michael Waltrip is there, and Jeff Burton. Row 11 tonight scored his first career win at Richmond in '86, Kyle Petty and Bill Elliott. Row 12, the defending champion of the Miller 400, Jerry Labonte and Ward Burton. For row 13, Hutch Strickland and Dick Trickle are there. Row 14 is Dale Jarrett, winner at Pocono this past July, and Bobby Hillen Jr. of Midland, Texas. In row 15, Bodines, Todd on the inside, Jeff on the outside. Row 16, it's John Andretti of Indianapolis, Indiana, and Elton Sawyer. Row 17, Greg Sachs and Morgan Shepherd. In row 18, Lake Speed and the rookie from New England, Ricky Craven. And in row 19, Jimmy Spencer from Pennsylvania and Jeremy Mayfield, the provisional starter in Cale Yarborough's car. Now, let's take a look at the in-cars as the field begins to roll. You're riding with Mark Martin, the Pyro Ford, rolling down pit road and out on to this 3/4-mile track. Here's Rusty Wallace for the Miller Genuine Draft Ford of Roger Penske. Further back in the field for tonight's performance is Bill Elliott in the Amoco McDonald's Ford, number 94. Starting back in 22nd position, Ken Schrader tonight. And Bodine and Jeff Bodine's Exide Ford. Big story there being told today in the garage area. We'll bring you up to date on a little later. He's back in 30th. And Schrader will be our last in-car. He'll start well up tonight in 3rd spot. What a tough season he's had after that terrible crash at Talladega. Now we're getting ready for a go in a couple of laps. Let's take a look at manufacturer points, as you probably are aware the manufacturer points pretty much decided for this year. Here's Rick Benjamin.
Well, Ken, indeed, the manufacturer's point chase, which the three major car companies involved in Winston Cup racing put so much time and effort into, Chevrolet, Ford, and Pontiac. As you can see, Chevrolet has locked up the title at this point. 18 of the 23 races so far have gone to Chevrolet drivers with 190 points. So Chevrolet will have that marketing advantage over the next many months until the next season gets going. One of the many side battles here at Richmond. And we'll take a look at our Chevrolet course description for you tonight as the field moves down into turns 1 and 2 behind the pace car as well. This is a 3/4 mile tri-oval here at Richmond International Raceway. You see the pit road area there, the front stretch with that gentle D to it, 8-degree banking. The back stretch, 860 feet long, and the turns have 14 degrees of banking. But they're very, very different, Ken Squire.
Yes, it is, and it's one that just is so demanding. That second turn, Chad, you're either right or you're finished.
Yeah, the second turn's one of the hardest ones here, you guys. I mean, you come out of there, you're running wide open on the throttle, and if your car's tight, you're dead.
22 Fords, 12 Chevrolets, 4 Pontiacs make up the field tonight, Dick Berggren.
And it's a really close field, Ken. There's less than 2 miles an hour difference between pole speed and the very last car in the field.
22.033 the time for the pole, and 22.382 all the way in the back. That's a pretty tight field, less than a second apart. Among those that did not qualify, Ed Barrier didn't make it. Steve Grissom not here tonight. Shane Hall failed to qualify. Jay Hedgecock, Eric Smith, Mike Wallace out of it.
Yeah, the Don Levy team, and we need to say hello to them. I'm sure they're at home watching the race. This is Judy's hometown.
Dick Trickle now will have to start in the back in the Bud Moore Ford. He missed driver introductions. No. And there's number 71 starting in 6th position tonight. Dave Marcus, last time he started at Richmond in 1982, and he went on to win.
He's the oldest man in the field as well, and he has run more races here at Richmond than anybody else, more races in Winston Cup than anybody else at 660.
All right, the field back together. They ran them separately, front half and back half, got them into the speed pace for pit road, and now we're ready to go racing. It's live tonight on TBS. Coming up next for us will be Charlotte, North Carolina, the 500-miler, first weekend in October. 38th annual Miller Genuine Draft 400 about to come to the line.
Right now, all the drivers are gearing up for the start of this race. I mean, they're ready. The butterflies right now, believe it or not, have stopped. There's no more butterflies. Your game face is on, and you're ready to go.
Pace car is in. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Richmond and Winston Cup stock car racing, the most competitive racing in the world. Earnhardt out in front, trying to stay in front of Gordon. Already getting speed out of turn 2, down that back straight, and then into that tight pinch for turn 3. Here comes Gordon back on the outside, trying to lead the first lap, and it's still Earnhardt by a whisker, side by side. How about that?
Made their first lap without a problem. That's always a good sign.
You think we should tell them that there's 399 or something more to go on this?
Tell you what, though, Jeff Gordon isn't giving up easy, is he? He's got the outside groove here at Richmond, interestingly enough, is a groove that you can run almost as hard as you can the low groove. And you can see right there, Gordon is able to take the lead out running on the outside.
They were kidding with Earnhardt earlier, saying, hey, there's nobody in front of you except Elmo Langley you can tap before the thing begins. Of course, he tapped Elmo a few times in that pace car.
Yeah, those black number 3 cars have a tendency to do that.
Elmo said the hardest he got run by Dale was at Sears Point. They get him into some area where the cameras couldn't see it, and Dale would come up and give him a couple of shots under caution. Elmo was pretty good at that in his day, too. Here's Bobby Hamilton, 7th place, number 43. Marcus right behind him. Here's Jeff Burton trying to move on the outside in the 8. Waltrip falling back. His leg hurts a lot. They have been drawing fluid and blood all week from that leg after that crash a week ago.
He has been beaten up just terribly this year, Ken. He got hurt at Charlotte Motor Speedway earlier in the year, banged up again last weekend at Darlington.
Rusty Wallace in the number 2 on the move coming up, and Mark Martin in that Ford as well. Wallace loves this track. A lot of people are ambivalent about this track. Hamilton in the 43 car says, this is one of the tracks I really don't like. He won his Grand National race here. He always runs well, and he says, I think the reason that I do well here is because I try harder. There you see him, the number 43, closing right in on Mark Martin here in number 6. That's the battle for 6th position. How fast will you tip it off and go in? It doesn't look that fast, on camera. Never seems to unless you're on board in the car. But how fast do you drop it off into turn 3?
I'd say you're approaching 150 miles an hour as you get into turn 1 and 3. We use a lot of brakes here at Richmond, and later on tonight we'll be able to see the brakes actually glowing inside the wheels of these cars.
Rusty Wallace in the 5th position now, car number 2. He's on the move, coming up, and here's his view as he looks out and looks at that rookie that's just in front of him, Robert Presley in number 33. Presley of a great racing family out of Asheville, North Carolina. Qualified so well in a battle of his own, a battle royal with Ricky Craven for freshman honors of 1995.
We started with a crop of a whole bunch of rookies in 1995, and most of them have dropped out, but the two that have remained, Ricky Craven and Robert Presley, are very strong racers. And if you talk to the car owners in the garage, they will tell you that both of these young men will be big winners in Winston Cup.
Here's Wallace continuing to try to get a little extra ground off that second turn, and he is. He's picking up car lengths on there. You see him closing down quickly on number 33, Robert Presley. Meanwhile, Gordon is up in front. Earnhardt second. Schrader stays third. Let's go to Steve Burns.
Again, Darrell Waltrip has radioed into his pits that a plug wire has come off. He's going to try and ride it out until they catch a caution, but that's why he's sliding backwards.
Oh, that is just an awful feeling as a driver. You cannot race this place or any other racetrack for that matter with 7 cylinders, and Darrell's just going to have to ride it out till a caution and put that plug wire back on.
Wallace to the inside on Presley. Presley trying to shut him down for a moment. Out of 2, comes up a bit, and on his way is Rusty Wallace into 4th place. No, Presley back now in turn 3. Wallace is there. Gordon stays first. Earnhardt stays second. Schrader going third. And it's Wallace, followed by Presley. Behind him is Hamilton in that 7th position, number 43. Wallace driving away now from the freshman, Robert Presley.
Really Rusty Wallace racetrack, and part of the reason for that is that so much of this racetrack is corner, and if there is a chassis expert among these drivers, Rusty Wallace is the man. So he has had an opportunity to dial his race car into this Richmond Speedway, and he has done very well here. 4 wins on the new configuration at Richmond.
Working the 13th lap. Gordon continuing to draw away from the rest of the field, and Earnhardt covered by 10 or 12 car lengths. Run to the inside, making a move on Brett Bodine in the Junior Johnson number 11. That's his 9th position go right there, and Ricky Rudd has the handle on the inside.
And you can believe the fans here at Richmond Speedway are cheering for Rudd. He used to live in Chesapeake, Virginia, which is right down the street. And there are a lot of people here who still consider Ricky Rudd in that red and white number 10 to be the local hometown hero.
Sell a lot of tickets over in Chesapeake, Virginia to this event.
Oh, you bet.
And still even Rudd on the inside. Had a very good run at Darlington last week.
Despite running with damage.
Yeah. Got beat up early and came right back.
And here comes Sterling Marlin in that yellow number 4 car. He just has decided he is going to run as aggressively and as hard as he possibly can. He has never run a race on a track shorter than 1.366 miles. That's Darlington. His other 3 wins have all come on the biggest of the super speedways, and he has got to run strong in the last 8 races in order to have any hope of winning the championship.
Take a look at Kyle Petty rolling up to number 42. He's had his problems last couple of months, and he goes right around Bobby Labonte in the 18. Kyle Petty, that's back to the 15th spot. And there's Rudd getting beneath Brett Bodine. Sterling Marlin getting a chance to go. Ooh, there.
That's the area right in turn 2 we talked about before the race started, that the cars want to get a little bit loose if you don't have enough forward bite coming off that corner.
Right behind them, there's Ted Musgrave on the inside, Derek Hope on the outside, 16 and 12 respectively. Having a good go at it at the present time.
You'll notice on this track, even though it's just a 3/4 mile track, it has a lot of super speedway tendencies, and you'll really see is when cars are running side by side, like we've seen here a lot already tonight, it allows the cars behind to catch up immediately. The 2 cars running side by side or slow down. They probably lose a half a second a lap.
To the outside comes Kenny Wallace, and the defending champion, Terry Labonte, is there as well. In front, as we get ready to complete 20 laps. Within a lap, it'll be Jeff Gordon for first. Earnhardt is closing in on him as Richard Childress, his car owner, looks on. From the steel aerial platform, the wildest merry-go-round you'll find, Richmond International Raceway. This 3/4-mile track has seen 25 laps of Winston Cup racing completed. And there are the leaders down the back straightaway. Gordon in front. And Earnhardt right there, closing in for second, from second for the lead.
Also notice we were watching number 5 car. He started back in 23rd position, and now he's up to 12th. So there's some guys that are running back in the back, and they're moving up through the field fast already.
Here comes Earnhardt on the inside, trying to move down and gets a hole, gets himself in there. Even across as they come down out of turn 4. Earnhardt on the bottom, Gordon on the outside. Gordon not giving an inch. Still even for the lead. Now Earnhardt slightly in front.
That's a brand new race car that Earnhardt has got here tonight, Ken. They really wanted to do well at Richmond, so they brought it here, did 2 days of intensive testing with this car. Unfortunately, not with the same tires they are using tonight. You can't do that anymore. Goodyear won't let you have the tires to test with that they run in the race. But they still learned a good bit, as you can see. As Randy Pemberton said in one of the meetings today, when Earnhardt starts on the pole, when he's that strong early in the race, look out, because Earnhardt can be strong when he starts 20th.
Personal pride on the line right here, and that's all. Coming up toward 30 laps. And now, for the moment, Earnhardt has the advantage. That's the battle up in front between Earnhardt and Gordon for supremacy in this race. And looking further back, battle what? This 5th place back here, a little further behind that one. 71. Dave Marcus is in 7th position. On the outside of him is Robert Presley, trying to take it away with Derek Hope in the 9th spot. Good, solid racing.
And if Marcus looks a little bit like Dale Earnhardt tonight, he should. The setup underneath his car is the same setup that's underneath Earnhardt's car. Andy Petrie told him what to do with springs and gears and all that, and that's what Dave Marcus put in that number 71 car. He is just flying tonight.
And the car that Chad mentioned just a moment ago, you see Terry Labonte in that Kellogg's number 5 going to the outside and trying to find some running room. He's been in the throttle hard from the outset on this one, trying to move through traffic. Now down to the bottom with Sterling Marlin alongside.
Terry Labonte runs this track so well. He's won the last 2 races here, and he won the Busch race. He's just a strong competitor here. I'm not sure exactly if he's figured it out chassis-wise or if he's just this is accustomed to his driving style, but he sure runs good here.
So Terry Labonte making himself a factor with that smoothness that has carried him through 3 victories this season. Terry Labonte has been on a roll at Richmond lately. Hey, what's the secret to your success out here, Terry?
Sometimes it seems like you see people get on a little bit of a roll at different racetracks, and they do really well there. And I guess this is our place right here in our time, it seems like. It's always tough. You know, it's going to be tough this weekend with the Winston Cup cars and the Busch cars both. Competition's awful close, and you know, last race up here, we really weren't the best car, and we were the best at the end of the race. So, but all day long we weren't the best, and you've got to stay on top of it and have good pit stops, and things got to go your way.
From 23rd, Terry Labonte challenging for 9th, and has it now and closes it on Sterling Marlin. Randy?
Well, Ricky Rudd's crew chief was just talking to Ricky, who's right behind him. And he's, Ricky, the car has made up all his ground on the outside, so that lane really working for Terry Labonte. He said, go ahead and try it. Mark Martin also looking for a new line to run out there.
This is really a two-groove racetrack. They say that about a lot of speedways, but Richmond, you really can run side by side, lap after lap, and neither the high groove nor the low groove seems to have any particular advantage on many occasions. This seems to be one.
Well, on sticker tires, the low groove is still going to be the fastest way around this racetrack. But what happens, this track has such a tendency to be tight. The cars don't want to turn coming off the corners. You move your car up a little bit, and it becomes a little freer. So there they start running on the outside. Of course, Terry Labonte just ran on the inside when I say that, but, you know.
He heard you. Nobody's perfect.
As you watch Robert Presley's number 33, remember he is now 9th. Rudd closing in behind him. Marcus with an outstanding run. Got a lot of help from Andy Petrie.
It's good to see Dave Marcus up there, isn't it?
Here's Bill Elliott's number 94. trying to get sorted out here. Back in 20th, 21st position right now for Bill Elliott in the 94. Right up in front of him is that 26, getting just a little loose out there for a moment. Hut Strickland.
Hut Strickland, you have a younger brother changing tires for that team tonight, as a matter of fact.
Really?
Yes, I do.
How much younger?
Just a couple years.
Is there going to be a bunch of littles out here like there are Bodines and Wallaces?
Oh, actually, he changed his tires for me on the Busch car, too. He's a pretty good little tire change. We see Bill Elliott's brakes starting to glow already in the early stages of the race.
There are now 39 laps complete, coming up to 40th.
There's Rusty's caught Jeff Gordon, and he's attempting to pass him right now as they come off of turn 2.
Sawing at that steering wheel going through the car.
Second place, up for grabs right here. Wallace on a mission. Whoa, taking a big handful there.
This is great. Saturday night, the stock car races, night race. You're in the car as he makes the pass on the low side.
Did you notice Jeff Gordon waved him by there, too, as they went down into turn 1? That's what the drivers do in the front, you guys. The guys that really run in front, they're professional with each other. Jeff Gordon's saying, okay, you're a little quicker than I am right now. I'm going to let you go by, and I'm going to follow you for a while.
So you now have the number 2. The Deuce is in second place. We've got Earnhardt up in front. So we've got a Chevy Ford battle in the top spots again tonight. Although Chevrolet has dominated the season, taking the Manufacturers' Championship home early. Ford trying to make up some ground at this time of the year.
And you talk to the Ford drivers, and they all still say that Chevrolet has an edge here in this kind of racing. Tonight at Richmond, as was the case in the spring, spoiler rules, nose rules are the same for the Fords and the Chevrolets, but the Ford drivers say they are running a bit down to the Chevys.
So we've completed 42. We're working the 43rd lap at the present time as Earnhardt continues his run for a championship. We'll see. Coming around to complete 37.5 miles, 50 laps down, 350 to go. Nary a sign of a caution flag to date. And out in front, it's Earnhardt with Wallace second, Gordon third. Ken Schrader having a great night in fourth, followed by Bobby Hamilton fifth, Mark Martin in sixth, Derek Cope is seventh, Terry Labonte in the 8th position, running ninth to Sterling Marlin and Ricky Rudd. Dave Marcus falling back to 11th.
So right now we see Earnhardt starting to get up on lap traffic, putting these cars a lap down. And I know as a driver, when you see the leaders coming up and you know he's going to put you a lap down, that's when you really got to buckle down and try to stay ahead on the lead lap, because once you go lap down, it's really hard to win the race. As long as you remain on that lead lap, you're in a position to win.
But look at Wallace in the 2 coming on as they go around that spam car, late speed. Here's Earnhardt diving to the inside on Morgan Shepherd, and here comes Rusty Wallace right with him. We've got a fight for the lead between the 2 guys who had that big altercation at Bristol, who put on that tremendous show last week in second and third at Darlington, South Carolina, and now they're in heavy traffic going under Morgan Shepherd. Ooh, almost got a piece of him, did Rusty Wallace. This is all happening in lap 52.
Battle at Richmond is shaping up.
And these 2 guys put out a great battle in the spring as well. They ran side by side for some 30 laps, never really touched each other, sort of slid into each other, I guess. But good show here.
Greg Sachs in the 31 going up to the outside. A comment from Randy Pemberton.
Dale Earnhardt has just radioed to his crew. The car is pushing, coming off. That's where his problem is right now. Of course, he's probably driving very hard at the moment with Rusty right on his tail. If you'd like to know, we're about halfway to green flag pit stops at 100. Steve Burns?
Well, I have a question for Chad Little. We've been monitoring the scanner audio from the different teams. Some cars, drivers are saying they're loose, others saying they're tight, they're pushing. Chad, what I want to know is how can so many teams be off in different ways the chassis setup?
Well, I think mostly this track has a tendency to be tight. You're setting your car up in the middle of the daytime when it's hot, the track's hot. There goes Rusty Wallace. Drive way down in the apron as he tries to make a pass on Earnhardt. And we have a wreck in front of Earnhardt.
Ooh, some spinning,
right
crashing.
in front of the leaders. You know, I think that's a deal where the guys that are going a lap down are trying so hard to stay ahead of the leaders.
Todd Bodine in trouble up in turn 2. They race back to the line, and as they come to the strike, Earnhardt leads Wallace across. Todd back underway, first caution at lap 57.
Jeremy Mayfield was also involved in that altercation. Well, we have some conversation going on here between Rusty and Dale. Just got right side by side, looked at each other.
Well, Steve, you know, to finish answering your question there, this track has such a tendency to be tight that I think a lot of people probably overguess it a little bit. They set their car up so loose because, you know, you're really going to lose more time when you're tight here than if you are a little bit loose. So they might overguess the setup just a tick. They complain about being loose. But also remember, sometimes when you're too tight, coming off a turn, you're turning the car because it is tight, the brakes and rear wheels loose, and that's when the drivers are saying, you know, it might be tight right in the middle, but it's loose coming off.
So here come the leaders on to pit road. And let's go to Randy.
Well, we're waiting for Dale Earnhardt, Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, the entire field to come in here. Dale Earnhardt said, we're going to fix our problem with tire pressure. No report on Rusty Wallace chassis adjustments, nor Jeff Gordon. The 3 car is in, the 2 car is in, and now Jeff Gordon makes his stop as the Rainbow Warriors go to work on the DuPont Chevrolet. Right side tires are on the 3 car, likewise for the 2 and Rusty Wallace's crew. Earnhardt, they work with the tire pressure on this one. Rusty Wallace down and away. Earnhardt makes the move first. Jeff Gordon now down and away. That's the way they'll come out of the pits here at Richmond.
Saw first, second, and third come on pit road. Saw them make their stop, and as they come back out, you have the 3, the 2, and the 24. Now running 1, 2, 3. With 58 laps complete, this time by in the Miller Genuine Draft 400 at Richmond International Raceway, live on TBS. More of the excitement in a moment. It's a harvest moon. The question is, who's going to harvest the lion's share of $1 million out here tonight at Richmond International Raceway? And there you see the standings over the top 6 at the present time. That's with a 60 of 400 laps complete, working lap 61 at the present time. Let's take a look at what the leaders had to get around in turn number 2 just a moment ago here, Chip.
Well, you see Rusty dove way into the apron as he made an attempt to pass Earnhardt going into turn 1, and this happened right in front of the leaders coming out of turn 2.
I think your point is well taken. Those guys did not want to get overtaken by the cars that were about to lap them. Put out quite and number 33 here, he had a little fun in the pits. That was not much fun out on the track, but number 33, Robert Presley, who's a collector, you know, he likes to pick up things at the track and so forth, and he did not want to pick that up.
You know, we laugh about that, but I tell you what, if this was at a super speedway, his day would be over because his nose would be damaged, and that is so important on the big tracks. He'll probably won't hurt him too bad here at Richmond tonight, though.
Robert Presley ready for another go, and we're ready for green. Coming around a complete 62. Lead cars in that outside line make the break.
A big jump on the inside line. The inside line, remember now, is lap cars here tonight at Richmond.
Pete Craven leading that group of lap cars. He's back there in 28th position. Behind him, Todd Ledine, 29th. Nemechek, 30th. Sawyer. We should mention again, that was Todd Ledine that got in that back up in turn number 2 that brought out this first caution of the day at lap 57.
Should also mention that number 25, Ken Schrader, is doing a great job tonight. He's had some tough runs of late, but tonight Schrader very strong with the 25. Asked his crew chief earlier today if today was going to be the day to end all the bad luck Schrader had. He just sort of looked at me and shook his head as if he didn't even want to talk about it. Schrader's had so many terrible things happen to him. He's been 7 straight races without a finish in the top 10. 23rd in the Southern 500, 14th at Berkeley, 26th at Michigan, 36th at Watkins Glen. He's got a lot of fans who would love to see all that end here tonight with a strong finish. The other car involved in it, he brought out the caution. Jeremy Maple, we've been watching him for a couple of laps, and that car came out pretty much unscathed. Doesn't show any battle marks on number 98 the RCA car. And he is running a lap down at the present time.
Great battle up there at the front with Rusty and Gordon. You know, that's one of the advantages to starting up front all the time is that you don't have to run in traffic as hard. You don't get your car beat up as much. Right now, the leaders right there, they're not only leading the race and getting that all-important television coverage, but they're also not taking the chances of running in hard traffic and damaging their car.
Take a look at some of that traffic out back. There you see Jeremy Mayfield's number 98, making it 3 wide.
Back into the wall right there.
Well, that'll take another caution.
Oh,
27 around in the wall goes Elton Sawyer. And there's the second caution of the evening. This comes at lap 67.
How about that camera work, Cam? I mean, just right there as soon as that damage started.
Darn Mike Wells, he just knew that 27 was going to go down in there, dump it into turn number 1. Yeah.
Well, a hint is that you can't really go 3 wide into the corners here and make it, at least most of the time you can't. Once in a great while you can, but Elton Sawyer discovered tonight that tonight was not one of those nights.
Well, I don't think he realized what was going down on the bottom. That move by the 98 was down beneath him far enough back. He didn't have a chance. When he started to pull down, everybody was there.
Yeah. Take
a look again right here. That's Brett Bodine in the middle.
The 27 car probably didn't realize what he was getting himself into right there. Victim of circumstances as he spins around and backs it into the wall. And although he's probably not damaged the car real bad, it's going to be bad enough that he's going to be down a few laps before they can get it fixed and make it back out. It's too bad for the Hooters team.
Is that the 31 or the?
It's Greg Sachs in the middle.
Yeah, it is the 31. It's Greg Sachs.
Oh, look at him just getting squeezed. You can see Sachs on the brakes. The rear brakes lighten up, still lighten up. Smoke off the left rear corner of Sachs' car, trying to stay out of that. He had a bad crash last week at Darlington.
See, Elton's getting out of the car. He's certainly okay, but the car's going to have to come in on a record, and they're going to have to repair it behind the wall before he can make it back out tonight.
Junior Johnson's number 27, and we understand it's back to a one-car team, that this may be sold to the Hooters folks next year, this team.
There's a lot of teams for sale. The 26 team is for sale. They're looking for a buyer there.
Let me ask you a question. You know, we know about Bernstein. We hear about Moroso for sale. The big announcement today, Jack Roush is coming out with a third team. Jeff Burton is going to be the driver. Buddy Parrott is going to be the crew chief on that deal. They're also going to build a truck for a few races. So what do you think is going to happen here? Will indeed Roush buy one of those teams, Bernstein or Moroso?
It's really hard to say what he's going to do. He's got a lot of pride. They build a lot of their own equipment as well, and both those guys want to see the teams go out as a complete unit.
Talk about 3 teams under one banner, three racing teams. Let's go to Rick Benjamin for just a moment and get back to this one.
Again, time now for our Auto Week Weekend Racing, brought to you by Auto Week, America's only enthusiast weekly. Last night, the Busch Grand National Series cars ran 250 laps here under the lights in Richmond. We have some highlights to show you from a great battle that transpired here last night. We're going to show you off the green flag. First of all, the situation as the cars came down for the start. Here's the green flag with Randy LaJoie on the pole, David Green alongside Kenny Wallace. Started third last night. A lot of paint swapped here throughout the evening. Here's a jam down into turn number 1. And Dale Gupta's car was able to gather it back up and get straightened out. We'll hear more from him later on. A little later on in the event, Elton Sawyer gets turned around up in turn 3. So it's 2 for 2 on the weekend for Elton Sawyer. Last night in the Aiken Sutton 38, he gets straightened out. Late in the race now, Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin. Martin had led a long time. Jarrett works his way around down on the low side. This was not the end exactly. Later on, there was a little skirmish. We'll set this up for you. Jeff Green in the 3 and our good friend Mr. Little in the 23. They showed very strong. Now, at the end of the race, Dale Jarrett did make his pass good on Mark Martin. It takes the checkered flag. Jarrett coming back to win another Busch race. Now, after the checkered flag, watch this. Jeff Green and Chad unfortunately tried to occupy the same portion of the racetrack down between turns 1 and 2. It doesn't work very well. There's Dale Jarrett in victory lane, your winner last night in the Busch Grand National event. Jarrett and Martin, Johnny Benson, the point leader, Steve Grissom and Terry Labonte, the top 5 here tonight. And we want to tell you the rest of the results. We'll show you some additional ways the field stacked up last night. Actually, this is qualifying for the IndyCar final tomorrow. And this is at Laguna Seca. Jacques Villeneuve has the pole. Brian Herta and Gilles de Ferran. Teo Fabi and Scott Pruitt will be the top 5. Villeneuve trying to lock up the IndyCar title tomorrow. Formula 1 runs tomorrow at Imola, Italy. David Coulthard and Michael Schumacher will start on the front row. Gerhard Berger, Damon Hill, and Jean Alesi. And we'll be back here at Richmond International Raceway. 1-800-232-1522, the number now, for a 52-week subscription to Auto Week. $19.95 is the price every week. Auto Week is first with all the inside news of racing, personalities, driving impressions, and a whole lot more. Auto Week's phone number, you see it on the screen, 1-800-232-1522. This offer ends Monday night. We'll be back to put these cars under green as we watch the fans enjoying activities here at Richmond International Raceway. 73 laps complete. We're under caution. Back in a moment.
Lap and a half completed on the green. Since they've dropped it, that gets us up. We're coming around to complete, 78 this time, 2 laps. And there you have car number 3 in front. Wallace in second. Gordon right there, putting a lap on the number 41 of Ricky Rusty Craven.
Well, he's already a lap down. He's just keeping him a lap down right now.
Number 30, Michael Walters, on a stop-and-go penalty coming out of pit road. Now back in the pits, being held. It's going to put him a lap down.
You know, that really hurts him too, Ken, because now it's under green. Before it was under caution. So it's not only just a stop and go, it's under green stop and go. And you can, you know, in the race around there 125 miles an hour compared to 45, which is pit road speed and track speed today. That hurts.
On a 3/4 mile.
Well, how easy is it to run that stop sign at the end of pit road, Chad?
It's very hard. I mean, it's very easy to do, as a matter of fact, because it was one of those, it's a situation where you know it's close, so you want to go, and then you pretend you didn't see it and hope NASCAR didn't see it.
Here's Terry Labonte, winner of the last 2 races on this track in Winston Cup and winner of the truck race the other night. Looking very strong as he makes that move with car number 5, Terry Labonte, looking back up through traffic. Michael Waltrip, who's already served his time on pit road, is back out there again. He's got a lot of making up to do.
He was a black flag and then had to come back in because he wanted to stop and go sign.
9th spot was Labonte, as you saw a moment ago. There are the top 3. Earnhardt, Wallace, Gordon. After 2 cautions. Let's go to Steve Burns. Here's the story on Elton Sawyer.
Elton, you look okay, but a frustrating night. What happened?
Well, I'm not real sure, Steve. You know, the spotter said inside, and I knew the 31 car was there, but apparently somehow we got 3 wide getting into 1. And the Sawyer family's done a great job here with this facility, but you can't run 3 wide. And it's unfortunate early in the race, you know, Mike Gill and all the guys worked hard. You know, we need to get some experience and run as long as we possibly could, but it's not going to be tonight. We'll get them at Dover.
Tough luck, Elton. Thank you.
And it sure looks like the 27 is headed into the hands of Bob Brooks, the CEO of Hooters. Been a 2-car team for juniors since, what, 91? And brought Sterling along. Anyway, next year back to the single focus. Be interesting to see what happens with Travis Parker next year. The big junior thing.
You know, Derek Cope had a great pit stop this last time around. He came out 5th, and he's hanging right in there. He started well, and he's really having a good run tonight.
Bobby Allison Racing, wearing the number 12, and looking good with Lake Speed, trying to duck under there in car number 9. Lake is a lap down and being shown in 29th.
See Derek starting to run a real high line. You'll notice that tonight. Cars, some of the drivers will pick a low line, some will pick a high line. It just depends on how their chassis is working, where the car feels most comfortable to them.
Wallace feeling very comfortable right down in the bottom there, Dick.
He sure is, and they are going at it. They really are. There's a lot of enthusiasm for leading this race right now. Rusty trying to take it away from Earnhardt. They got along well last week, but they sure didn't get along well at all at Bristol. Rusty's comment is, we've talked it over, and I've just explained, he just better not touch me, that's all.
Well, I guess that sums it up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe I better try that.
We want to talk to you about that little incident at the end of the race with that number 3 and the 23 from last week.
That was pretty neat.
Look at that videotape again.
I think we're going to see Rusty making a move on Dale here real soon. He's going to probably stretch some distance out. His car seems to be working a lot better through the middle of the corner. He's getting a better bite up off the corner.
Rusty Wallace trying to close in. They gave us some great laps here back in March. I think they ran 20 laps absolutely side by side, just pasting each other's cars on the doors. Running side by side is common enough at Richmond. And we asked Dale Earnhardt his thoughts about it.
You can do it. Unlike Bristol and some other places, you can race side to side here. It's a good racetrack to race like that. Rusty and I in the spring race here run 30 laps side by side. Had one of the best races of our career here, so it's a good racetrack to race on.
Well, so it was 30.
Yeah.
I thought it was 20.
Who was counting? It seemed like the whole race, the two of them ran side by side. It was a great show, and these two cars seemed very evenly matched tonight, Ken. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see a repeat of that.
As you watch Rusty working that steering wheel going down through here, what does it tell you, Chad?
Well, his car seems to be working real well. Obviously, he's in second place and he's running real good, so you know his car's working well. But you see Rusty taking a little lower line into the corner. That just tells me that his car isn't as tight as some of the others might be. So that's why I just kind of guess it. In a few laps, the tires get hot. Rusty's going to be strong, but I mean, all these cars up in the front right here are strong. You see Dale and Gordon, they're both running real strong right now. But it doesn't look like Rusty's fighting things much either. It's kind of an effortless effort to bring the car through the corner, and that's a sign of a good handling race car.
Closes right big on Earnhardt another time. Earnhardt gives him a little room, but there's coming off two. You can't take that shot right there. Here's the spot. And Earnhardt's there.
Great in-car camera work. You see Rusty looking to the outside now a little bit, and then probably check it out the inside as they go down the straightaway here. But, you know, the straightaways are a little shorter here in Richmond. It's hard to pass down the straightaways. Your moves are really made in the corners.
Well, in lieu of that, on this short track racing, always consists of a lot of bumping and grinding. And here we go. Rusty Wallace, one of the masters of short track racing, gives us his thoughts on how to be successful with guys like Earnhardt here at Richmond.
You got to keep the thing out of trouble, man. You can lose your patience real quick in a short track and start retaliating against guys, beating and banging and all that. You start tearing the car if you can't really get successful here. But the key thing is always handling. And we always seem to get our handling package real good in the race. Now, I will admit, I'm the world's worst qualifier, so don't judge me on that one. But when it comes to race time, we seem to get everything right. And that's the key. Good pit stops, good handling car.
Good handling car he has, and so does Earnhardt at this moment as these two continue to make war. The 7-time Winston Cup champion, Earnhardt, in front of the 89 champion, Rusty Wallace, right there with him.
And you see this race. This is what these people paid to see, Ken. When they put tickets on sale for tonight's event, they lasted a grand total of 2.5 weeks, despite the fact that the Sawyer family put another 8,000 seats into this place. Every one of them is gone. They had to put a new law into effect to try to hold the scalping down. Now it costs you $500 to scalp a ticket. And I'll tell you what, there were people out there willing to risk it just in order to get a seat to this event, and this is what they wanted to see.
Front two, front three, right there. And here comes Wallace again on the inside. He's got the shot out of two.
Like we've talked about tonight a little bit, it's hard to make a pass on the inside here. What you have to do is your car gets the RPMs get pulled down as you're coming out of the corner. You have to pinch it off a little bit. You can't keep the motor running free. So the guy on the outside actually has a little bit of advantage, providing his car is working well on the outside. So you see Rusty getting down low. If Dale can make it through the corner strong, he can hold Rusty down low as they come out of turn 2, and it's hard for Rusty to complete the pass.
The other night in the truck race, I sit up here in one of the suites, and he was the spotter for his own truck. I think he was taking notes about how to get around this thing. Look at him dive back. Now there's that move that Earnhardt is so famous for. Let him move through on the outside. I'll see you on the inside.
Now, when you pass Dale Earnhardt, you better watch both sides of your race car, because chances are real good he's just about to come by you on either side. He just does not give up.
You see which one of these guys exercises the most patience, as we talked about too.
100 laps complete this time by, and we've got a war for first place. It's Earnhardt and Wallace at it at Richmond. Doesn't get any better than this. Wallace has it for the moment. Pulls away by a full car length. 82,000 people up and enjoying this one. Stay with us on TBS as Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt make war in the Miller Genuine Draft 400. Back with you at Richmond International Raceway with 106 laps complete. And there you see that battle up in front. It's Wallace and Earnhardt still at it. This struggle isn't over. Here comes Earnhardt back another time. It's hard to get off this one because it's so good, but there's some other great contests just behind it. We'll try to get to them in a moment. You don't want to miss this one, however.
They're giving each other room, just enough room, but they are giving each other room. No real contact between the two of them yet. Both doing a brilliant job of driving. Yeah, it is. Yeah, if this was lap 398, I don't think it would be quite this gentlemanly, but so far, so good.
I think they got the message from Mike Helton and the NASCAR. Bill France himself is here tonight. No nonsense. No cock-a-doodle-doo out here. We'll see. Still early.
Cock-a-doodle-doo?
Yeah.
Is that the polite way of saying?
Yeah, getting into it pretty good.
got a couple of roosters ready here to get at it. Look at Wallace taking that high line, and you were mentioning a moment ago, the other guy who is really willing to run much higher than anyone else, and you see he ducks down here to protect that inside, is Derek Hope. And the Cope run in the number 12 has brought him up into 4th position. Derek Hope in the Bobby Allison car had a great run back here in March. Now here comes Earnhardt another time. Just doesn't like the idea of seeing that black and gold car in front of his black and white car, and he's going to do something about it.
I think Earnhardt likes to see anybody in front of him. If there's a race car in front of Dale Earnhardt, he's simply going to pass it. That's all there is to that. It's stuff like this at Richmond, brakes become a real issue. They talk about Martinsville being the real brake track, but Richmond is a real brake track too, and part of the reason for that is they're on the brakes for such a long period of time, going into 1, going into 3, and most of these teams have got 3 brake ducts, some of them with an actual electric blower on each of the brake calipers up front. They've all got brake circulating valves, so they recirculate the fluid. You can't use all that stuff in Grand National racing, though, can you, Chad?
No, in Grand National racing, we're not allowed to use any air blowers onto the front calipers or the rear calipers, and I think you can almost guarantee that every Winston Cup car that's out there has got blowing air in 3 different ducts to the front brake calipers.
Look at this, still at it. Earnhardt is back into that September mode he's so famous for. Right back in here. He slipped in those races between Michigan and Michigan from June to August and fell from 1st to 4th in the standings. But he looks like the Earnhardt of old, still in here, still believing that at Atlanta in November he will be fighting for his 8th championship with whomever.
It's a different strategy right now, Ken, on the Earnhardt team. Andy Petrie, before the start of today's race, told me that they are running offensively rather than defensively this late in the season. And what he meant by that was that if there's any question at all about gear, they're going to go with a more risky gear. If there's any question about shock absorbers, they're going to take the chance. They have got to run hard as they possibly can, defend nothing. Caution is thrown to the wind.
Battle for 5th place up there, and that Ken Schrader car stays just in front of Ricky Rudd and Terry Labonte in the number 5. Here's Rudd making his way to the inside as the feathers continue to fly up in front. How about this one? And look at Bobby Hamilton in 43. What a good job he's doing again tonight.
I remind you that Terry Labonte started all the way back in the 23rd spot. Right now he is running in 7th, making 6th position.
Ricky Rudd breaking that group up, getting away. Schrader had led that pack for about 8 or 9 laps. Sterling Marlin just doing the tail end of that.
Schrader's car doesn't seem to be working as good as he'd like it to right now. He's washing way up there in the corners, as you can see, and he's gotten passed by 3 or 4 cars here in the last 10 or 12 laps.
I should mention that Dale Jarrett is just behind them in 10th. Mark Martin is 11th. Kyle Petty, 12th. Dick Trickle is 13th. Musgrave, 14th. John Andretti, 15th out here at the present time. In 16th would be Ward Burton in the 22 car, the MVN8 car, and Bobby Labonte is in 17th. They're all in the lead lap. In fact, we have 26 cars running the lead lap here with 118 laps now complete.
Terry Labonte and Rudd going for 5th place right there. Look at that. Real good battle going on.
Lap after lap, Terry Labonte is passing cars.
And that's exactly what he's done in the last 2 races here and come home a winner. Can Labonte make it 3 in a row in Winston Cup racing? Well, stay with us here on TBS tonight, because right now it's the Wallace Earnhardt Show. But that's for now. For the 400 lap distance on this track at an average of 104.6 in 1992. He's out in front now, and after 2 caution periods, clear sailing as he continues to lead this race. Here's Sterling Marlin driving down on the inside of Ricky Rudd. Throws it in there at 150 miles an hour. They slide out of the 4th turn and down the main chute as Ricky Rudd has his hands full trying to hold on to that position. That is some scrap for 7th spot. Schrader's in there as well. Sterling Marlin seems to be getting smoother every year, Dick.
He really does, and he is very, very good on this racetrack, even though he has never won here. Schrader's still hanging in there at 25.
And there's another good battle. There is Dick Trickle. Remember, he went all the way to the rear, back to 38, came all the way back up into the top 10. Well, now Trickle in the 15th is in the 14th position. That's car 15. That's that quality care car. And Dick Trickle having a really good run.
And he is auditioning for his ride next year. Bud Moore says he hasn't decided who is going to drive that automobile. And Dick Trickle surely is among the candidates being considered, but it's not sure yet who will drive the 15 in 1996.
Number 15, Trickle, with over 1,200 career wins on those short tracks in the Midwest and throughout the East. Here comes that 22, barreling down on the bottom and getting stronger. Ward Burton another time. Musgrave on the outside looking good.
Whoa, are they going to try 3 wide? No, thank goodness.
And he thought about it, though, for a minute there, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did.
16th position for car 16, Musgrave.
Ward Burton with a real strong run in that number 22 last week at Darlington. Oh. Look at this battle.
All right. Call me Boy Wonder, will you?
He's caught the 3 car and he's passed the 3 car.
Yeah,
of course,
well, it's not
I
over
don't
yet.
think so. Forget it. He's so famous for that move of letting the car get up on the, or pass him and then slipping underneath them as they're coming out of the turn.
The timing is so good, it looks flawless, as if anybody can do that.
But nobody else can do it. Earnhart's the only guy that can repeatedly make that move work. You can see a lot of other drivers, some real quality drivers, try it, but he can make it work time after time after time.
You talk about throttle control, that's it, number 3.
And everything else control. You're watching one of the best stock car drivers of all time when you're watching Dale Earnhardt in that number 3.
How do you feel about that, Chad?
You know, those black number 3 cars they're strong, but, you know, just sometimes you just got to say, I don't know. Now, obviously the 3 car is real strong, and I'm alluding to a little bit of what happened last night, but that's a different story.
Yes. A different driver. We got to get back to that. That was pretty good. Okay, Ray Evernham has been on the radio telling Gordon, settle down.
You think that's a championship call maybe by Evernham saying, hey, we don't need to be doing this right now? I kind of think it is.
Good point. That Evernham is saying, hey, you know, there is a championship, youngster. Get out of that. You don't need to be caught up. And probably the greatest sight guy in racing is Dale Earnhardt. He will get you into the darkest messes if you're not careful.
No question about that.
Evernham is a really good balance.
No question.
Rick Mass coming off the corner is trying so hard to get number 1. A little bit of smoke just came off the back tires.
Now, how about this? There's that Derek Cope car up to 4th place, carrying the Bobby Allison colors. 1990 Daytona 500 champion, Derek Cope. I'd love to see Allison have a great night here at Richmond, because Allison had so many great nights on this track. And here comes Terry Labonte right with him, wheel to wheel, in this fight for 4th spot. Randy Pembert.
Well, Jimmy Finnick is the crew chief on this car. Jimmy, you guys have had a lot of tough times this year. Your best finish is a 5th at Darlington early on. That's what you're battling for right now. Great run for you guys.
Well, right now we're running pretty good. The car's a little bit too tight in the middle. So we'll wait till we get in, loosen up, and see if we can loosen up anyway, and then see what we got there at the end.
When will you make your next green flag stop?
I would say another 30 laps, I would say.
Hey, you heard it. The crew chief on Derek Cope's car.
Now, those cars are just 5 seconds back from the leader. 5 seconds away from Wallace, Earnhardt. Well, from Wallace, actually. Then comes Earnhardt and Gordon, and here comes Cope and Terry Labonte having a great tussle. And Terry Labonte, the Iceman, Mr. Cool, right down in there, just taking his time. You know he has plans to make it 3 in a row here at Richmond International Raceway. If you're just joining us, 82,000 folks came in here this afternoon, got into their seats early. They didn't want to miss anything. There was a late practice period, and what a show they're getting tonight. The full moon is out, but thus far we haven't seen the kind of full moon racing you often see on a short track. You see a full moon and a half mile, you know there's going to be 25 cautions and 3 fistfights. We haven't had that yet. But stay tuned. Take a look at this. Down to the inside, it's still Labonte running wheel to wheel with one of the Northwest's greatest drivers, Derek Cope.
Little wiggle coming out of the corner. No wiggle with Labonte.
It's been 70 laps since they've put on tires. Right now, it's about time to start making some pit stops. You know, if there was a caution right now, all the cars would be coming in, and I think we'll be seeing green flag pit stops within the next 25 laps.
When you brought a brand new tire to this race, and the object was to come up with a tire that wouldn't give up, would run for a long time. Looks like they've succeeded in their goal.
Indeed, they have. And it's still even across. This fight's going to go on for a while. We'll rejoin it later. Let's tell you, up in front, it's Rusty Wallace. It's Dale Earnhardt. It's Jeff Gordon. It's Richmond on a Saturday night, and we've got a good one cooking. Well, frickin' frack are at it again here tonight. They've swapped the lead another time and back again. Here's Wallace and Earnhardt still having a whale of a good race. Trying to get under Robert Presley at the present time.
They just put the 4th place qualifier down the lap. These guys are running a heck of a pace right now.
They have got this place stomping. They, for a moment, seem to stabilize, and you don't think, oh, that's going to be it until they make the next tire stop, and then Earnhardt just zonks him. Pulls right down to the inside. Then Wallace comes fighting right back in front of him.
And there's the number 24 of Jeff Gordon right behind Robert Presley, watching the whole thing, just waiting for something to go wrong in front of him, and he will inherit the lead of this event.
I think that Ray Evernham put a double bit in his mouth tonight to harness that guy back. He is really riding him. He's on the radio to him, telling him to be in control. And so far, Gordon hasn't put a wheel wrong in this race. And he continues to watch this battle between these two great masters, Rusty Wallace and Earnhardt. Keep this up. This is just amazing.
They've got a big pack of cars there right in front of them, and you know those guys are saying, please, let me have a caution, let me have a caution.
We're showing 50 complete. 150 down of the 400 to be run. And you're watching from Bill Elliott's vantage point. He doesn't want to get caught up in this thing and lose a lap. He's back there in 21st position at the present time. And about to go a lap down. Bobby Labonte has already been lapped. And there's a kid that's proven he can win this year, and he's going to win a lot more, I believe, in time to come. There is a candidate for a national championship. What, 2 years down the road?
It's not going to take him very long, for sure. 3 wins in 1995, all big wins. 2 at Michigan, 1 at Charlotte, the 600.
Yeah, the focus of Gibbs and the sense of Makar and the driving of that young Labonte.
Yeah, and Hendrick Motors under the hood. Let's not forget that, too. And they have 1 more year with Hendrick Motors. They're already developing their own in-house engine program, but they've got him for 1 more year.
Well, making horsepower right now are those two, the 2 and 3. Now, Dale Jarrett we haven't seen for a while tonight. Let's take a look at that 28 car. Dale Jarrett has been trying to make some time up out here and get himself up through the field. He's got himself around Ricky Rudd. That puts him up to 8th position. He's had some fighting to do. He came from 27th earlier on in the race. Looks like a 2-car team coming there next year, Dick.
Yeah, it is a 2-car team, most likely. Jarrett says he will be back, and apparently they're going to field a 2nd car for Ernie Irvin if he wants one.
I think he probably wants one, yeah.
Well, he's got to get past the doctors first. I'm certain that he wants one, but whether or not he's healthy enough to do it, that's the real question.
But the question really is, will there be a 2nd car Ernie Irvin can't run?
That's what Jarrett told me yesterday.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Dale, to see that 2nd car team work out and to see Ernie Irvin in a car within the next couple 3 races.
Of course, you know, I think they know his desire to race, and probably everybody figures that no matter what, he will simply will himself healthy so he can get back behind the wheel again.
What's happening here? Here's 12. That's Derek Cope backing up a little, losing a spot to Bobby Hamilton, 43. And I would presume the tires.
Yeah, it's time. It's definitely time for stops. And what dictates who comes in right now is the leaders. The leaders come in, everyone comes in. Now, there is a little gamble you can take. Let's say you're running on the lead lap and you want to take a little gamble. You come in first, and then you kind of control the tempo because you're going to pick up so much speed with the new tires that it almost forces the other guys to come in. But normally, the tempo is controlled by the leaders.
Now, Sterling Marlin makes his move. And take a look at those leaders. Earnhardt just looking Wallace over. Randy Pemberton has a comment about this pit stop upcoming for those leaders. Randy.
You're right, Ken. They're coming. Rusty Wallace, Robin Pemberton, and the crew have radios. They're looking to stop at lap 162. Now, that is projected. They could go a couple laps more or 1 or 2 laps left. But 162, as far as adjustments on the 2 car, they're looking at an air pressure adjustment. No chassis changes. Everybody else going to come soon after that. Kenny Schrader was looking to pit around lap 177. But if the leaders pit, as Chad Little said, they will all start diving on pit road.
They're working lap 159 right now, so 3 or 4 laps from now, we could see leaders on pit road.
And I would guess they'd probably all put on 4 tires, wouldn't you, right now? I think if been running this long, it's 4 tires.
I would think it probably is. If you put 2 on, you go down 1 lap. You put 4 on, you go down 2 laps under green flag racing here. But if one of the leaders throws 4 at the car, chances are very good everybody else is going to do the same thing. And the last time any of these cars saw fresh tires was on lap 57. That's 102 laps ago. Those tires are giving up now for sure.
There are 19 cars in the lead lap. 19 as we come to lap 160. And you're beginning to see the first of them in. Car 26 on pit road. Strickland in the Kenny Bernstein Quaker State car.
Richard Broom says if a sponsor will come for that car, he will keep the team together. He will buy the team himself. If there's a sponsor out there, all these guys want to stay together. They think they've got the right mix to win races. And look who's on pit road. It's Rusty.
Rusty Wallace coming in. Marcus and Jeff Burton have already made their pit stop. We're following Rusty Wallace in. Let's go to Randy Pemberton.
As we wait for Rusty Wallace, Dave Marcus said he will take 2 tires only to try to get back on the lead lap. The 3 car will also pit this lap for 4 tires. They go to work on the Miller Genuine Draft 4 right side tires already on. One thing they do not want is a caution to come out right now. Earnhardt now coming down pit road. Wallace crew works on the left-hand side. Down and away, excellent pit stop. Pit road is now filled with race cars as Dale Earnhardt and Jeff Gordon follows him into pit road. Earnhardt's crew goes around to the right side. The Rainbow Warriors are working on the DuPont Chevrolet. Good pit stop going for Gordon's crew as well. Mark Martin's team pitted right behind them. They will come down pit road next. Around to the left-hand side of Earnhardt's car. Likewise for Gordon. Earnhardt's crew looks to be getting the job done just a little quicker. He's down and away. There goes Jeff Gordon. Great pit stop for both. Everybody coming down pit road now.
17.7 on Wallace as he came back out. I've got an unofficial here, 25 on Gordon. Let's go to Steve Burns on Terry Labonte's stop now.
Again, Labonte brings the yellow car in. Now his lap times have been faster than the leaders the last 20 or 25 laps. They will not make any chassis adjustments. Walter Smith trying to bring the jack around to the driver's side. So far, it's a very efficient, maybe not a great stop, but a very clean one, very efficient. Gas is in, and the left side tires are going on. Terry stayed after the lead a lap, and he's out of here.
19.3, and he's back out. Bobby Hamilton appropriates first position for the Richard Petty STP team. Hamilton is first, and Gordon is now in second. Pit stops continuing. Mark Martin is on pit road. Rick Mast has come in. Craven coming in. Todd Bodine, Jeff Bodine. Let's go back to Randy.
Martin has now hit pit road. Boy, he has been struggling all race long. He said, we need to get some wedge out of this car and loosen this thing up. They're on the right side of the Valvoline Ford as we continue under green. Now they come around to the left. A good pit stop going. There goes the wedge wrench in. Mark Martin's Ford, 2 rounds out of the right side. Left side tires on. Another super stop for this team.
Indeed, at 19.1, Bobby Hamilton pits. John Andretti inherits first place. You have Bobby Hamilton in, and there you see him in the number 43. This is the track where he won his first Grand National race. It's a track he does not like, but he always performs well on. Back to the track comes Hamilton out of Nashville, Tennessee. And John Andretti, who did such a great job in the first 40 or 50 laps over at Darlington last week in the Southern 500, now being the Haas Krenifus car out of Indianapolis, Indiana on the pit road. Andretti. Steve?
John Andretti in the pits. This is a team of veterans. Although Andretti's relatively new to NASCAR racing, Tim Brewer and the guys, so far the stop very good. The jack beam comes around and slams it underside, the driver's side. Remember, Andretti was on the pole last week in Darlington. This pit stop again is very new. The tires are on and he's down. 19.9 seconds.
Holzer and Darlington, who finished 12th, comes back on the track just in front of him, Morgan Shepherd.
And you talk about a good pit crew. Those guys have a very good pit crew. 2 of their members are on the first all-pro team, identified by their peers as the best at what they do.
Bill Elliott has just taken first place. Now he pits the McDonald's car. And with that stop, we'll have Earnhardt and Wallace again battling for first position here at Richmond International Raceway. The Miller 400. It's a hot one tonight. 4-tire change for Elliott. It's Rusty Wallace leading Earnhardt. Now second, Jeff Gordon back to third at Richmond. 175 with 400 laps complete. Moving toward 200. 11 lead changes among 7 drivers thus far. 2 cautions for 14 laps. And after the green flag pit stop, we've reduced the number of cars in the lead lap to 12. They are Wallace in number 2 in front, followed by Earnhardt, Gordon, Terry Labonte, Mark Martin, Jarrett, Ricky Rudd, Bobby Hamilton 8th, Hope 9th, Schrader, Martin, and John Andretti 12th. Those 12 in the lead lap. Dick Bergman.
Rusty Wallace is your leader, who says he loves Richmond Speedway, and the crowd loves him too, and no wonder. Of the last 6 races at Richmond, Rusty Wallace has been second in 2 of them, third in 1 of them, fourth in 1 of them. He's won 2 of them. Of the 14 races until tonight, he has led 11 of them. 1,520 laps on top since they redid this racetrack in 1988. Nobody has led more laps here than Rusty Wallace. He is a master at this racetrack, and he leads right now. Earnhardt running second, trying to run him down. There's some traffic to go through before he gets to Rusty.
The 89, 92, and 93 winner of this event, as well as some events in the spring, Rusty Wallace, in the car that they named in honor of Ronnie Hopkins. One of the very best. The car they've had PR-18 and Midnight, and they're so proud of Midnight, but they think this is as good a car as has come out of the shop.
Yeah, this was originally PR-16. Ronnie Hopkins was the fellow who did an awful lot of the chassis design work for Rusty Wallace team. He passed away not so long ago of cancer. Tragic loss for the team for sure. They really miss Ronnie Hopkins.
Well, he's out there tonight, and he's leading this race with Earnhardt second, Gordon third, Labonte in fourth. 2 caution periods thus far. 1 crash eliminated Delta Sawyer. A hard crash down here really buckled up the number 27, Junior Johnson. And earlier in the going, a double spin. We saw Jeremy Mayfield going around with the number 75 of Todd Bodine in turn 2 right in front of the leaders, somewhat reminiscent of that incident that Todd Bodine had at Darlington when it almost caught the guy that eventually won, Jeff Gordon. And there you see Gordon. Second and third place car. 22 in front of him.
Yep. Wardburg.
Oh, we've got a spinner out of turn 2. I think Spencer. It is Spencer. Has spun out of turn number 2. Boy, when that wall started the evening, they had one little blemish on it. Now you begin to see scars all the way down turn 2 from the action here at Richmond tonight. Caution is out. Third one of the night comes at lap 182. Stopping on the pit road at this point.
I wouldn't be surprised, but you never know. Just looking across right now, you just never know. There's been 20 laps. If they want to have 20-lap fresher tires, they may just come in.
20 for some of them. It's 20 laps for Rusty Wallace. Darrell Waltrip, however, pitted on lap 170. We're now on lap 183. He's only got 13 laps on his tires, and this may be an opportunity if the others pit for Darrell Waltrip to make up some of that lost time.
Not only that, Dick, what I think you'll see is cars that aren't quite right yet. They had 20 laps to see if the chassis adjustment helped, and here come some of the leaders down pit road.
They're going to do it.
They're all, the front 3 are all in.
And here come the rest of the leaders.
Wallace, Earnhardt, Gordon, Terry Labonte. You see Jarrett, Sterling Marlin, Rudd, Hamilton, Cope, Schrader, Martin, all taking advantage of this quick caution after that stop.
What a neat view of this pit stop action.
We talk about how physical some of the tracks are. Richmond ranks up there as being a real physical track.
Gordon first out.
Yes, he did.
Earnhardt at first pit, still there.
Jeff Gordon only went with 2 tires and came out the lead. Ray Evernham's done that a lot this year, hasn't he, Ken?
And won some races that way, too.
Yeah, he's also gone the other way around, too. And when some people have taken 4, he's taken 2. And when other people have taken 2, he's taken 4.
And we'll take a break and then be back with more live from Richmond International Raceway.
A September song being played tonight at Richmond International Raceway. The Miller Genuine Draft 400 live on TBS. I'm Rick Benjamin of the STP Pit Communication Center. With me is Jim Gilmore, the Attorney General of the state of Virginia. This is your first visit to a Winston Cup event.
This is my first race here at the Winston Cup. It's really a great event.
You served as Grand Marshal tonight. What do you make of the spectacle of all this?
I think it's a tremendous event. I can see why so many fans are flocking to NASCAR, and I really think it's good for Virginia to have an event like this.
We're pleased to have you with us tonight, Mr. Gilmore. Thanks for stopping by. Jim Gilmore, the Attorney General of the state of Virginia. We're green, Ken Squire.
Yes, we are, and you can see number 31, Sachs, look like he's in a bit of trouble, backing up and everybody taking some evasive action around him. Meanwhile, for the first time since lap 28, Jeff Gordon's back in front in this race, leading over Earnhardt and Wallace, second and third. Terry Labonte fourth. Dale Jarrett fifth. Ricky Rudd in sixth. Marlin is seventh. Schrader is eighth. Bobby Hamilton ninth. Cope in 10th. Mark Martin 11th. And John Andretti in 12th. Those are the cars in the lead lap. And we've got a crash in the main straightaway. Sachs is in the wall. Another car's been gathered up.
Robert Presley was involved in that as well.
Robert Presley took a bad hit. He's gone all the way into turn 2, and the car is still running sideways down there.
Sachs is going to try to leave. The cars are under caution. Starter waving his caution flag. Oh, look at Presley's car. All torn up. He had such a good starting position tonight, but he will not have a good finishing position.
He had closed so strongly on Ricky Craven in this battle for rookie honors this year. They were separated by the smallest of margins, 194 to 187 coming into tonight's race. Craven just barely in front. What a bad break for Robert Presley in the Charlie Presley crew chief car that's now down there being worked on. Let's see what happened.
Well, Sachs really never got out of the 3-wide problem. He stayed in the middle, and cars were passing him on the high side, low side for the better part of a lap. He obviously had some mechanical problems with that car, and finally the 3-wide stuff just caught him.
Let's see if we can find what caught him up.
Well, just look for the 3-wide.
There it is.
Boom. There he goes. Right there. And there's Presley on the low side getting caught up in it. Boom. Sachs hits the wall.
You know, that's one of the times when you really rely on your spotters, which are sitting high above this track in turn number 1. And when they come over the radio and they say, car 31's got problems, watch out for him. He's running low, he's off power, he's off the pace. That's when you really need the help of your spotters, and obviously didn't do a good enough job there.
Yeah, Greg just couldn't get down, apparently.
33 still out there and still showing a lot of smoke off the front end of that car. It looks like tire smoke, doesn't it?
Yeah, it probably
Maybe we
is.
can see it again. Now, know where to look, follow it here.
He just got caught up in the slow car of the 31. There wasn't anything he could do, and he just didn't know, that it was going on, and didn't check up enough and anticipate that. And again, I got to say, can't say enough for the spotters, and something like that.
Now, the word is that Robert Presley has also developed an oil leak. Maybe the oil cooler was damaged when he was hit there going down the main straightaway, so they're back on pit road.
And indeed, that seems to be where that smoke may have come from, and that's need more work, and hope they can get him back out here and keep him in this rookie battle. Take a look at the end of that number 31 car.
That's the second week in a row that Greg Sachs has been through a big wreck.
Here's Randy with Sachs.
Yeah, Greg Sachs sitting in the car. We'll try and get a word with him. I know he certainly can't be thrilled. Greg, I know you're not too happy about it. What happened out there?
Felt like we had a tire going down, didn't know it. And on the restart, I just kept trying to get back. They went both ways, inside and outside. And no one will cut you a little slack and let you get out of the groove, but just trying to get out of the way. No one will cut you any slack out there. It's a tough break for the Hardee's team.
Tough break for Greg Sachs.
You can see the damage on the car. It's quite extensive. They might be able to get back out, but it doesn't look very good.
Greg Sachs just taking over from Ward Burton, number 31, a couple of races back. Not good, and not good here for Robert Preston. Getting toward halfway, 194 laps have been completed at Richmond International Raceway in the Miller 400. And we'll be back with more in a moment. Toward the halfway mark in 2 laps. 12 cars in the lead lap here as we work the 4th caution of the evening. Gordon is leading, Earnhardt and Wallace, with Terry Labonte 4th, followed by Jarrett, Rudd, Martin, Schrader in 8th position. From his camera, you're getting these shots under caution. Halfway next time by, we're getting the report, and Hamilton would be 9th, Cope 10th, Mark Martin 11th, Andretti 12th. 1 lap down is Musgrave in 13th, followed by Jeff Burton, Ward Burton, Rick Mass, and the number 42 of Kyle Petty up to 17th position. So that's how matters stand as we get to the halfway point, and the speed continues to fall. It's down to about 98 mile an hour average now as we pick up on those caution flags.
Well, I mean, that's just because of the caution flags. It has been a fast race. There's been so many green flag races. And Derek Cope just pulled down on the pit road. We'll have to find out if he has a problem or what the deal is there, because he was running way up front.
Dave Marcus also pitted just a few moments ago.
Continue to work on his car. They say the wheel has come off car number 26 out there. Wheel off Hut Strickland's car. That's the report we're getting from NASCAR. Let's get a report from Randy about the leaders out here. We'll catch you up to date on Hut Strickland. Randy?
We documented the fact that Jeff Gordon took on only 2 tires. I went and talked with crew chief Ray Evernham, asked him if there were any chassis adjustments. He said absolutely not. So it's 2 tires. He got out front. Dale Earnhardt asked for a ½ a pound of air pressure up in the right rear. A ½ a pound. That's amazing. These drivers can feel that. That's all they did. They took on 4 tires. Rusty Wallace, no chassis adjustments, but 4 tires. They only need 1 more stop to go the distance.
Well, we see 26 back out and coming into the tail end of the field. Let's get a report from Steve Burns.
And to update our 4th and 5th place cars, Dale Jarrett in 5th place took 4 tires, no chassis adjustments, and the same for Terry Labonte. Terry Labonte has been talking to his crew chief, and actually these guys are pretty loose. Terry's saying it's a real mess out there with the lap traffic, but we're going to take this thing serious and go ahead and win it.
So we see Mark Martin coming around after he pitted at the last moment to take on some fuel. Hut Strickland pitted. Wheel came off as he drove down pit road. Well, he didn't get all the lug nuts out, so he's back out there again and going. The lap of caution is really helpful to him.
Warner Green with some speedy dry down in turn number 1. I hope that doesn't cause a problem for some of the teams.
Whoa, big jingle back there.
On short tracks, you see them work that speedy dry in lap after lap before they turn them loose here. They put it down and they go racing.
Well, you know, a lot of times you see it down there as the cars, the camera pans are going to turn number 1. It absorbs some oil, but it does take a couple laps sometimes before you have a lot of traction. And like drivers, you know, sometimes we say, well, I hope it's okay, but everybody's stomping on the throttle. There's not much more you can do.
There's a stop and go for car number 12. Derek Cope is going to be assessed now. Derek Cope's car number 12 being hit for a stop and go out here.
What Derek will do is he'll ride it out for 3 laps. You have 3 laps and you can disobey a black flag from NASCAR. After the 3rd lap, they'll pull your scorecard and then you're done dealing for the day. So what you do is you hope that you have a caution during those 3 laps, and then you can come in and do your penalty, and doesn't hurt you as bad as it would under green.
Here you see Wallace taking a shot and getting down through for 2nd spot, moving Earnhardt back to 3rd.
Surprise statistic on your leader, Jeff Gordon. Hard to imagine him an underdog, but believe it or not, until today, he had 5 laps in Winston Cup competition here at Richmond.
Yeah, I checked making up for it now.
Yeah, I checked that one several times. I couldn't believe that. Here comes Cope in now to pay the price. Cope on pit road. Gordon, your leader.
Derek just did a stop and go penalty, and actually just stopping right now, and he's on his way. But under green flag racing, he killed the motor. So now they've got to push it started under green flag racing. That's gonna hurt him. It's going to probably cost him a lap and a half. And he was running so good today. I mean, he was up there in the front all day long, had a shot at the lead or at the win.
And there goes the leader by him. He has gone down a lap as a result.
Jeff Gordon out in front, dominating here. Had to fight his way, spun at Darlington last week, about better than halfway in the race, came back from 13th position, tail end the lead lap, then had that last 10-lap shootout to defeat Wallace and Earnhardt. And for the moment, the Rick Hendrick car still looking very healthy.
And talk about dodging some bullets, Ken. In addition, he also went through 2 spates of flat tires. When he spun, there were actually 3 tires down, and later in the race, he had another flat tire. And yet, between Gordon and his crew, they got it all back together again. Jeff Gordon got himself to the front after all that and still won the race.
Well, I think Jeff summed it up in victory lane, and he said, you know, this team is a championship team, and I think this race showed it. I think it showed it too. You can tell he wins after spinning out and having flat tires, like you just said. I mean, that's the qualities of a championship team. They come back from things like that.
Battle for 7th position right here. Schrader. Let's go down to Randy quickly.
The story on Derek Cope. He passed a couple of lap cars as they were trying to line up for the restart. He passed them too late. Therefore, NASCAR penalized him.
Oh, that's a harsh penalty.
That is a harsh penalty.
You know, NASCAR's realigning the lap cars. The lap cars sometimes are waving you by. It sounds to me like, from what Randy said, is Derek passed some cars that he had a right to pass, but he passed them too late. There's a white line as you drive into turn number 3, and you can see it on the racetrack. You're supposed to make your passes by then to get in front of cars that you should be in front of. If you're not supposed to pass past that line. Sometimes they let it go, sometimes they don't. How close are you when you start your passing? And that's a harsh penalty.
Just saw that stripe back there for a moment. So Gordon is out there, and as far as Derek Cope is concerned, that's put him back in 13th position, 1 lap down. For Jeff Gordon at this moment, the 2014, just having some year to remember. But has Jeff and this Rainbow Warrior team taken the time to savor any of what they've accomplished the moment they've pulled off?
You know, right now I don't want to think too much about it. You know, it's been a great year, and we know that. But at the end of the year, when it's all over, no matter what happens, championship or no championship, we're going to be able to sit back, relax, and just say, man, what a great year. And wonder if you can ever duplicate a year like this, because, you know, this has been a phenomenal year for us. And, you know, right now I just feel like things are so hectic. I'm doing so many things away from the racetrack, but I'm so focused on the race car when I'm at the racetrack that I don't even think one bit about, you know, what's happened so far this year. And I don't want to think about it till it's all over.
And what a year it has been for young Gordon. He has led 33% of the miles this year, some 3,000 miles, won the most poles at 8, won the most races at 6, won the most money, over $2 million, the most bonus points, but has he sold the most T-shirts? Or is Earnhardt still ahead of him?
No, I think Earnhardt's got the T-shirt franchise. He's also just driving the lead at least a lap on all 5 short track races this year.
In fact, there's only been 1 race all year long that he hasn't led a lap, and that was Sears Point.
Here's Schrader looking back at Marlin and Bobby Hamilton. They double up out here. That's 7th place looking back. Schrader in 25. Wouldn't you like to see him have a good run all the way to the finish, be right up in there?
I think everybody in the garage area would put their hands together and applaud to just see Ken Schrader break out of this slump and get where he ought to be, which is victory lane. Ken House, too, the crew chief. They've worked so hard. They've stayed together, done a great job.
Bobby Hamilton running in 8th position. He's having some kind of night, too. Here he comes on the attack after Schrader.
I think it's neat watching the night races. You can actually see inside the cockpits of the cars as they come off the turn and watch the driver move the wheel. It's hard to see in the daytime.
There you see Sterling Marlin. He's running in 9th. And just behind them, there's that car of John Andretti. Here's your 10th place car. Sandwiched in between them is Rick Mast in the number 1. He's running a lap down in the 16th spot. 218 laps have been completed.
John Andretti in that number 37 has yet to win his first Winston Cup race. Tim Brewer, his crew chief, says, well, if we can't win one, we'll steal one. If anybody knows how to do that, Brewer's the guy who knows how. They just very, very smart about how to run their race.
Now, what do you mean by steal one?
Well, do smart things. You know, when other people pit, you don't pit. When other people take 4 tires, you don't take any tires. Tim Brewer is an absolute genius at running a race from the pit area, and ask the drivers who have driven for him, because he has won many, many races by intelligent strategy on pit road. Tim just calls it stealing a race.
Like a bandit in the night.
Yeah.
Here comes Rusty Wallace. Down on the inside. Puts that Ford right up against the Chevy. They've got it going again here tonight in Richmond. Wallace fighting for the lead, and I mean fighting. Gordon's not giving him an inch. I think he's turned off EVERNHAM's radio. He wants to go at it with Rusty Wallace tonight. But Wallace, you see that car look just a little twitchy going down in that corner? Great shot from above. He had so much power on as he came into that turn 1, but he was able to sustain it, and now draws away by a car length. Rusty Wallace taking command. How about this? Here's Schrader on the outside. Sterling Marlin on the inside. 7th position here. John Andretti there.
Yeah.
Close racing right there.
And John's on the lead lap. This is for position. All 3 of those cars looking for the same spot.
John Andretti's dad is here. He says he has a hard time because his younger son running another series out in Indiana these days. But look at John and how he's coming on. 8th, 9th, and 10th here. 7th is the Hamilton car. I believe I said that battle for 7th. That is a battle for 8th. Stand corrected and just enjoy. Watching Sterling Marlin. And here comes John Andretti tucked to the inside. Boy, Tim Brewer has that car working tonight.
John Andretti's doing his job very well, too. This is only John's 4th race ever at Richmond as he takes the measure of Ken Schrader on the inside. John's best finish ever here has been 10th. That was back in March. Yep.
That car really is running good because, you know, he started way back towards the back of the field. In fact, back in the 31st position, so he's come up a long way. Many cars have been lapped tonight under green flag racing. You know, that means he's really run almost as good as the leaders the whole time because of the amount of green flag racing that's been going on.
He's raced everything that has wheels on it. It just seems like a natural in a stock car. And the guy that is responsible for putting this car together for Michael Krampus and Carl Haas is standing by on pit road right now.
Tim, you guys have made some real improvements. You were on the pole last week. You're running well tonight. The team is really starting to make a move. I ain't got a clue what to do. Anyway, can't hardly hear anything down here, but John's doing a great job for us tonight. Track position, way down here in the pits, we're not hadn't had all that good a night, but John's doing a good job for us.
You see, Chad, there is an advantage to being up in the booth.
Well, I can tell you about that because I worked pit road here for many years, and this is one of the loudest racetracks on pit road of all of them. And the more grandstands they put up here, the louder it gets. It just takes the sound and bounces it right into the infield.
Tim Brewer's last win, 1992 finale in Atlanta, with Bill Elliott driving. They pull it off tonight. Hey, hang around. There could be some surprises before this one's over. You're riding with Mark Martin right now in the Miller Genuine Draft 400 on the 3/4 mile Richmond International Raceway live on TBS. Our next telecast, Charlotte, North Carolina, 500 coming up early October. Great Sunday afternoon entertainment for you. Let's take a look at a recap thus far. Lead changes 13 among 7 drivers. Slow speed 98, well under the record. 4 cautions, 30 laps of yellow, and 2 cars have officially retired from the race. 2 cars withdrawn. We had that as I think 4 cars withdrawn a moment ago. That's Elton Sawyer and Greg Sachs for sure out of the race. There are your lap leaders. Earnhardt for a moment, and Jeff Gordon trying once again get a top 10 finish out there. It'd be his 11th consecutive top 10 finish and stay out in front of this one tonight. Oh, Dave Marcus, Olive Garden number 71. Winner back here in 82, had a pretty good night, qualified in 6th, gave it his best shot, got a lot of help, he said, from Andy Petrie, and really wanted to give it a run. still working on it. They may get it back out. Here's your leader, Wallace.
He did get a good run, too. He got a little help from Earnhardt as well. Earnhardt gave him some mental help, helped him with the line here at Richmond Speedway.
And that can help a lot.
Yeah, but once you're behind the wall, there's not much that can be done. This guy, he seems to have it all figured out.
And this guy's got it figured out pretty well. He just went by Marlin.
Yeah, he's a quick study, isn't he? Fourth race here. Look how well he's running.
He's up to 8.
That's really a good run for that team right now.
That's a good, solid team. It's a brand new team, but you look at the personnel who are there, and there is a considerable amount of depth in that team.
Winning the Darlington pole was a step in the right direction for John Andretti. Hey, what's the next step in the Kraniffas-Haas race team?
If we can get a win this season, that's on a timetable that we like to do, and we think that, you know, we might be capable of doing. It just depends. Like, you know, you need to have your day come to you, and we think that that can happen still this year. We've got a pole behind us now. We're in the Busch Clash and got in the record club at Darlington, so a lot of good things have happened to us, but still want to get that first win, because once you get the first pole and the first win, they all seem to flow a lot easier from there on out.
Nice guy and a whale of a racer, John Andretti.
I think he was being a little modest there, because he's actually had a great year, and you could tell he's just a little shy, but he's a strong race car driver, and that's a good team right now.
As we watch the man in 8th place, Mark Martin is back in 11th position. And the story on Mark Martin is he is about 4 seconds away from falling a lap down to Rusty Wallace, just about 4 seconds, as Wallace is blistering this 3/4 mile track.
You know, the 6 car's been off, as Dick said earlier, all day long, and they've been fighting the chassis, and it looks like the car is just a little bit tight, can't get it freed up enough, and as you can tell, he's going to go down a lap if he remains green here another 30 or 40 laps.
And I put my money on him finishing 6th. Why? He finished 6th in 3 of the last 4 Richmond races here. He finished 6th in the spring of 1901. And in 1990, when he won here, he started 6th. Car number 6 seemed just fine, didn't it? I thought 6 was going to be the lucky number.
Believe in numbers and do all that.
Well, I'll tell you, I showed this to Mark Martin, and he was some interested in it.
I would go out and buy a lottery ticket.
Yep. Buy number 6.
Virginia State Lottery.
Let me see. I wish I had some to sell you. All right, here's Wallace in that 2 car, and again, he's now 3 7/10 of a second. He puts a lap on Craven.
Presley back after that crash, running well. Look at him, he's fast after all the damage on that car.
You can also notice on the 26 car there, they had a wheel fall off earlier, and you can tell it was the left rear. You see the damage to the quarter panel. As you get a tight shot of that, left rear wheel came off and tore off the back quarter panel.
Why so many things happening with lug nuts in the past 3 or 4 races? What's going on?
I mean, that's it's hard to say. Probably teams trying to have an ultimate pit stop.
Randy?
Dave Marcus is pulled behind the wall, as you said. Dave, what's the problem?
Well, we got a very bad vibration, and I thought maybe a rear gear or transmission was going out. Dale says the rear gear seems to be okay, and it don't seem to be excessively hot. We're going to put another set of tires on and try that. We thought maybe it could be a loose wheel. They checked the torque. The wheels were tight.
Not great, man. You had a great start tonight.
Well, you know, we had a good qualifying run, and, you know, the folks at the Olive Garden restaurant were very happy, but when we got behind on our first pit stop, I raced hard after that trying to keep up with the leaders, and, you know, just with the tires, I was not able to keep up, so we give it a good try.
Hey, Dave Marcus, a 2-time winner before they changed the configuration of this Richmond International Raceway.
Yeah, and set on the pole here back in the early 70s, Dave Marcus. We'll take a look at number 5. That's Terry Labonte. And he is doing some kind of job. He's closed up on Earnhardt at the present time.
And you were asking about lug nuts a couple minutes ago, Ken. And part of the problem is that they make the ratchet, whatever you want to call it, the socket. The way they make that thing is real loose, and it doesn't fit the lug nuts particularly well. So it's easy to have the thing not go on all the way, spin around. One company makes the socket, another company makes the lug nuts. And, of course, everybody's doing everything to be fast, and sometimes reliability is sacrificed.
Do you think there's an opportunity for enterprise here?
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there are a whole bunch of things underway in terms of some very clever sockets that some people have come up with to try to resolve the problem.
Here's 18 and 81 getting at it here. That's Kenny Wallace. And right with him is Bobby Labonte, a couple of Busch graduates having a pretty good run out of it tonight. As we look further back, Kenny Wallace being shown in the 22nd position. Bobby Labonte right with him, 21 and 22.
You know, Kenny Wallace and Bobby both ran great here in the Busch Grand National Circuit. They're just off a little bit tonight, one a lap down. Earlier in the race when we had so many great flag laps, and right now they're just kind of hanging with it. So many of these cars would be on the lead lap and running up front, except for so many laps under green, and how strong Rusty and Gordon and Earnhardt have been running this whole time.
Let's not forget that Darrell Waltrip's in this group, and he's 23rd. That's 21, 22, and 23 right there, with 250 of 400 laps complete, and DW is going to make a move on the inside.
Nice to see. He's only one lap down. Don't count Darrell Waltrip out. Remember how he's such a good finisher. End of the race, you may not see Darrell Waltrip all night long, but those last 100 laps or so often Darrell Waltrip comes in and he gets it.
Darrell Waltrip is hurt once again. His leg is paining him. Told these people he's going to bring his truck up here. He came up here and ran on Thursday night. Boy, I give him an A for that.
No wonder he's got so many fans.
28 and the 10 car having a good battle of their own right now, too.
That's fifth spot. That's been going on for a while, and for the moment, 28 takes that fifth spot.
A lot of sentimental attachment to the number 28 car out there right now. That car was first debuted in the 1992 Coca-Cola 600 by the late Davey Allison, who went on to win here at Richmond in that same car, and Ernie Irvin won here in that same car.
And one of the people so responsible and a great TV commentator these days for this car and for racing in general is standing by on pit road.
Larry, you were in the broadcast booth last night and watched your driver win the Busch Grand National race. He just took fifth position. What's your perspective now?
I tell you, I can't hardly hear you down here just in the pit road, but, you know, we unloaded the car yesterday and we was not right, and we have worked on that thing. We were standing at the gate 30 minutes ahead of time this morning, get in here and just change everything on the car. Used some stuff from Dale's Busch car last night, and finally paying off, it looks like. You know, it takes about 20 laps for our cars to come in. That's when Rudd went by us. But like once we get to running, we finally keep coming back to it.
1993 Daytona 500 champion Dale Jarrett riding, going around Bobby Hillin with 75, 8 seconds back from the leader. Dale Jarrett in the 5th position. With the 95 Winston Cup season winding down, teams and drivers finalizing plans for next year, Dick Berggren talked earlier, had a chance to ask Dale Jarrett what's in store for 96.
I'm going to drive on the Winston Cup circuit. What else?
Whose car are you going to drive in the Winston Cup circuit?
I'm going to drive a car for Robert Yates Racing. Be a second car here. And just looked at everything. Obviously, it got too late for me to do my own deal because sponsorship-wise. And this looked like the best situation for me for 1996.
Well, there you have it, right from the man. Started, 31st tonight and still on the move. Great move. He and John Andretti. They've been on the charge all night. And the 28 car in 5th spot. A factor right in front of him, Terry Labonte in 4th. And up in front, it's Wallace, Gordon, and Earnhardt. We're 257 laps in to the Miller Genuine Draft 400. The still aerial platform giving us this shot of the Wheel of Fortune, and we're not sure whose number is going to come up tonight. But right now, if you're down on number 2, you're riding pretty fancy. Rusty Wallace has the advantage over Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt, with Terry Labonte in 4th and Dale Jarrett in 5th. There you see Wallace putting a lap on Bobby Labonte. Continues to fall back. Hamilton has just passed Ricky Rudd. Pulled himself up into the 6th position. There you see 2nd and 3rd. There's Gordon, followed by Earnhardt, and there's Terry Labonte closing in. Still closing exactly as he did in the last race here.
Exactly as he does so many times. That's how he got the nickname Iceman, is he's really calm and relaxed, nerves of steel, and just takes his time. And look at the end of the race. Terry
Melting
Labonte.
away the competition.
That's right.
Indeed, he is closing down about half a car length a lap at the present time, and even a little more there.
You know, everybody puts so much emphasis on qualifying. I guess these guys,
Marlin's off the pace.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Sterling Marlin drops to the inside going into turn number 1. Car number 4 is in trouble. That's your 9th place car. In trouble, eases down to the inside. No caution on the track.
You know, Dick Bergman talked about he hadn't had any DNFs. Dick, please don't mention that how people are doing anymore, because it could be a bad sign.
Like the cover on Sports Illustrated, huh? Well, racing makes it once every 6 or 7 years.
I don't like the looks of the smoke coming out of the back of that thing.
Yeah, it looks like it could be an expired motor.
Get a report on that in just a moment. Could be a rear end. We'll see on car number 4, Sterling Marlin coming in now down pit road. Gave it a good shot tonight.
Not a good sign.
Right back to the garage. There's the guy in 2nd place in the Winston Cup points. Let's go to Randy.
The initial report we've got on Sterling, we haven't got it confirmed yet. We'll check with him in a moment. He is out of brakes, guys, and I don't know if you can do it here without brakes, but it wouldn't be done very successfully. There was a lot of smoke, but that's the claim. Out of brakes to the garage. We'll check on it further.
Crew going back to...
The one thing they didn't have was a circulator to circulate the brake fluid in it. Most of the teams used that. They didn't. Don't know if that had anything to do with it or not.
That's interesting, though, because a lot of these, for instance, Earnhardt won a lot of races on short track and Wallace without brakes. And Richard Petty never had any brakes. And
you know, I'd be a little surprised if he's actually, and I'm kind of going on a limb here, if he's actually out of brakes, because they're in 2nd place in points.
Yeah.
He might be better just to ride around here, let his brakes cool down, see if his pedal comes back instead of pulling in the garage area, jacking the car up and fixing right now. You don't know for sure. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll find out. So there you have it. It's Wallace, Gordon, Earnhardt, Labonte, Jarrett, the top 5. Bobby Hamilton, Rudd, Andretti, Schrader back to 9th. Then Mark Martin in 10th, a lap down. Here's Randy.
Grease pouring from the rear end of Sterling Marlin's car. I suggest that is the culprit. It is pouring out. You can smell it. It's a rear end on Sterling Marlin's car, but we'll try to get a word with him. Tough break for Sterling Marlin.
Sterling Marlin ran so many races at Nashville, and there's one where you really have to pump him a lot. And I'm sure he ran some of those 150-lap races there and ran the last part of the distance without brakes. That will not bother him here. Rear end is seemingly the issue, and we'll keep following that story. Here you see John Andretti in the number 37 car, still in there tussling with Ricky Rudd. This is for 7th spot. It's been a good fight for a while right here. Ooh. John Andretti had a handful and then some. Down on the inside, and that car didn't want to stay there. Did that time. I did that time. Yep. So John Andretti picks up a position. That's a car in the lead lap around Rudd and puts him into 7th position.
Remember we had Tim Brewer on camera a couple of minutes ago, and you saw that big grin on his face when they first put him on. I bet you got it again.
3 cars in here together for 2nd spot. Gordon there, but then Earnhardt takes it away. Terry Labonte getting into this act. We're getting along. 275 of 400 laps are complete. And Terry Labonte, winner the last 2 times out, jiggles that steering wheel through the corner. Let's go back to Randy for another report on the 2nd place man in the standings, Sterling Marlin.
Well, they're working on the gear. Sterling Marlin's car. Sterling, that's a bad deal there. What happened?
Looks like we burned a gear up. It started vibrating real bad and stinks real bad, so got to put another gear in it and get back out, try to get some points.
Okay, the thoughts of Sterling Marlin, 2nd in points. Boy, what a heartbreak. They're going to... That's Jeff Gordon now.
Indeed it is for Sterling Marlin and for this McClure team. They have certainly put a show on for us all season long. Season's far from over, though. Charlotte's going to be fun here on TBS. More from Richmond coming up.
Coming up on 100 laps to go on a Saturday night at Richmond, and Rusty Wallace holding sway here in the Miller Genuine Draft 400. Want to update you on a story. A while back during a caution flag, an impact wrench had flown off one of the cars, the 87 car of Joe Nemechek. Now, Nemechek is in the hunt, no problem. A Winston Cup official was injured, Alan Bryson. He had open heart surgery a year ago. The wrench struck him in the chest. He's okay. They've taken him to Richmond Memorial Hospital for observation. We wish Alan Bryson all the best. Meantime, Jeff Gordon on pit road.
Time for pit stops. They've got about 100 laps, and Jeff Gordon, first among the leaders on pit road. Let's go there now.
Well, right after that last pit stop under caution, Jeff Gordon came over the radio to Ray Evernham. He said, boy, I want another yellow, please. He said, 'cause this car is bad loose getting off. So he's fought it the entire time. He's been good. They're working on a 4-tire stop. Left sides are on. Gordon down and away. We should expect the rest of the leaders within the next 20 laps, probably sooner.
20.9 seconds, that stop. Kenny Wallace coming in, and Schrader is in. Schrader running in 4th position. As he came in, he was in 4th position.
I think Schrader was a little bit further back.
You're correct. He was back in 8th. Here's Randy.
A unique situation on Kenny Schrader's car. He has had the left side of his mirror come off. He is begging the spotter to do everything he can for him. He can't see the guys behind him, particularly when they're diving inside. Tires are on. 21.8. Schrader down and away. He's still having a good run.
Well, I could comment on how frustrating that is to have a mirror fall off. I had it happen once at Rockingham, and believe me, it is a difficult situation because you're relying completely then on your spotter. You don't know exactly where anybody is, and when your tires are getting worn out and people are passing you, that's a tough situation.
Well, it's only a tough situation when everybody's got mirrors. Sprint cars don't have mirrors at all. So, you know, they're sort of used to it, but by the same token, some of those guys drive by Braille. You know, somebody hits you, you know he's there.
That's just like an editor of Open Wheel Magazine.
Isn't it though? Yeah. Ricky Rudd is on pit road. 7th place car pulling in. Now on the tail end of the lead lap, as going down the lap is Gordon with his pit stop.
Brett's crew chief, Billy Engel, is going to be making a move next year. He says he wants to be a race car driver, so he's going to stop being the crew chief on that team.
In fact, I talked to Billy Engel this morning in the pit area about that, and said he wants to go to work for a team where he can they can use his knowledge, and then in exchange, they'll help him run some limited bush and truck races. And tell you what, I know a team that just might be interested in that.
Yeah, whose team?
I can't say right now.
Okay. If you're going to do this, you can't keep secrets. They say they're going to keep Wallace out another 6 laps before they bring him on pit road. We now have 6 cars in the lead lap. They are Wallace, Earnhardt, Terry Labonte, Hamilton, Dale Jarrett, and John Andretti. Ooh, stacking 3 deep into turn number 1. This gets kind of fun. Yeah, that's scary stuff. Yeah.
Sorted out, Schrader in the 25 was one of those cars that was involved in the 3 deep.
Looks like Schrader must really enjoy those new tires.
New tires at a place like this, when you've been running over 100 laps on the same set of rubber, it's like night and day. You just can't believe it. It's like getting a new race car.
Does it feel more stable, or is it just faster, Chad?
Oh, it's more stable. You know, you can go in harder, you get on the gas earlier, less braking. I mean, it's completely a different deal as far as racing goes. And that's why you also have to use a little caution, though, because you're coming up on lap cars so much quicker.
294 laps complete, and Bill Elliott on pit road, number 94 in 14th place. Steve?
Bill Elliott is in. So far, the right side has gone very smoothly. We put the gas in. The gas can goes flying back across the wall. Jackman comes. The left side goes up. The tires are rolled over to him. This is a very important stop for Bill Elliott. A little bit slow on the right rear. He's having trouble getting it done, but he's finally down. 22.8 seconds.
They also killed the motors.
It's away.
Bill must have been a little tight, too, there, because we saw him adjust a little bit of wedge there in the right rear.
Mayfield in, and here's Dale Jarrett running 5th at the time. He pulls on the pit road. Here's Rusty Wallace, leader, making his stop. Just in front of him, Ricky Craven coming down. Craven, the rookie, right behind him is Wallace.
Craven, Dale Earnhardt coming in right behind Rusty Wallace.
Go to Randy.
Rusty Wallace had to go to lap 296 or he wouldn't make it the rest of the way on fuel. So Jeff Gordon has picked up a little time with 2 tires out there at last pit stop. 4 tires up for the 2 car. He's down and away. Earnhardt is in. Left side tires going on with a 4-tire stop for the 7-time champion. Great stop for Earnhardt down and away. Harry Labonte follows him out.
17.6, good stop on the Wallace car. The 22, Ward Burton, is on pit road. He's been running an 8th a lap down. Here's Bobby Hamilton, another of those cars in the lead lap. Had taken the lead briefly here in this green flag stop, the second green flag stop of the race. Jimmy Spencer pulling in.
That was really close on pit road.
John Andretti getting 4 tire change here. At 19.3. At 19.3 comes John Andretti back on the track. Looks like we're in for another shootout at Richmond. So what's new? It happens every time you come here. 298 laps into the record book. And they can go home from here. How to get fun. Those tires get a little loose here. The final moments of this one. Steel aerial platform giving you a view of the Richmond International Raceway with the 82,000 folks who are all around this 3/4 mile track. Don't get quite the angle you're getting, but they sure get to see it all in this beautiful racing facility. Sterling Marlin has returned to the track after repairing the rear end. It was 14 minutes and 16 seconds that the car was behind the wall. It's back on the track and many laps down, but he's still out here trying to score some points. 36 laps down to be exact.
Well, that's the important thing is, it wasn't brakes or he'd have stayed out there like we talked about. He had no more go left. His rear end was gone.
306 laps now complete. Michael Waltrip is on pit road. And again, the U.S. Air car comes in, number 77. That's Bobby Hillen, who is being shown in the 33rd position. Here you see Dale Jarrett closing in behind Ricky Rudd. And let's review the front of the field for you. It's Rusty Wallace leading, Jeff Gordon in second, Earnhardt in third, followed by Labonte, Rudd, Dale Jarrett, Bobby Hamilton seventh, John Andretti in eighth, and Ken Schrader in ninth. And those 9 cars are in the lead lap. 1 lap down is Musgrave, and then 11th is Ward Burton. Now take a look at this. This is the rookie battle. It's 4 laps down, and they're in the same lap. Ricky Craven, number 41, then Presley in the 33. They're back there in 28th and 29th position. This is a battle for a spot on the track, and as I mentioned earlier, the rookie battle, each of them has 10 finishes that were up on top for the rookies. And they scored them that way. And the other, the other 3 were to Randy LaJoie. There were 10 leading rookie finishes for Craven, 10 for Presley coming into tonight. And here they are. Presley got bounced around earlier. He's right back and attacking on Ricky Craven in the Hedrick car.
I'm surprised at how well Robert Presley is able to run. That car was pretty seriously damaged, Ken, but the crew is very experienced. They may have a rookie driver in this series, but the crew is very, very experienced and obviously did a good job of getting that race car back together again.
Up to 27th and 28th in that battle, and here you see Bobby Hamilton just a digging coming off turn 4 and down the chute in the D shape here.
What do you think? Richard Petty enjoying this tonight?
You know he is.
I bet he is.
Wonderful feeling to see his car run up front. And so many times, it's happened this year. They've had a good season, and it just is another run for them running up front. And who knows? We might see Bobby Hamilton in winner's circle tonight.
Hamilton up into the 6th position. They just switched here as they went down that last lap. Speed up to 102 mile an hour average for this race. The record again, 104.6. Rusty Wallace, 1992. 312 of 400 complete. So, Bobby Hamilton continues to run this track with authority as the king on his throne here looks on. A lot of happy folks in Richmond, Virginia tonight, and for good reason. we've got a battle royal between Wallace, Gordon, and Earnhardt, and there's the man leading it right now. Three-time winner of the event, Rusty Wallace, is out in front. He has a 3-second interval over second place, Jeff Gordon, at the moment, but there's a long way to go in this one.
Yeah, there really is an awful long ways to go. We're still some 82 laps before the end of this thing. Jeff Gordon has run strong all night long. He has never won here. Earnhardt, the black number 3, right behind Gordon. He's got 5 of them here. He knows how to get around here. He knows how to win races here.
Earnhardt back there in third. Then right behind him, you see Rick Mast in the number 1 car. He's a lap down in 13th position. Good run tonight for Rick Mast.
Mast always seems to run well here, but here's the guy who for the last few races has run so extremely well. Steve Burns.
With Gary DeHart, Terry Labonte's crew chief, your car seems to be better on longer runs. Can you get up to the front?
Yeah, it is a little bit better on longer runs, but Rusty's pretty strong too. Right now we're about the same speed as the leaders, but we just can't get no closer to them.
Gary DeHart, who first got together with Terry Labonte back in '84 when he was on that championship team, when Terry Labonte became the youngest Winston Cup champion at 27. Will that change this year? This race could really be a big factor in that. Here you see Gordon continuing to stay out in front of Earnhardt in that battle royal for the point standings.
In that picture you just saw a little white car on your right going very slow with smoke coming out of the back of it. That's Bobby Hillen in the 77, and he's trying to make his way to pit road, obviously having a serious problem with that car.
Actually, he just pulled it right in the garage area. He took the little short turn there before pit road. I think he's done for the night. Might have expired a motor.
Boy, Bobby Hamilton looks impressive.
He does.
6th spot and still with it. Now here's Earnhardt making his move on Gordon.
Yeah, look at this. Look at this.
And here comes number 5. Defending champion Terry Labonte getting into it now.
For second, third, and fourth. And maybe Ray Everham might want to come over to the radio now and say, just a second, Jeff. Remember now, we're fighting for a championship.
Earnhardt is certainly fighting for the win. No question about that. He's doing nothing to protect points at the moment.
Still even across. Greg Fielding says, don't worry about Henry Wexford, 1950. He was 23 when he won the championship.
I had no idea Fielding was that
Greg
old.
Fielding. Yeah, Greg is that old.
Gordon making time on the high side. He's got by Earnhardt again.
And here's Earnhardt right back again.
Yep. Second, third, and fourth, all being contested.
Allowed Terry Labonte to get right up there, and Earnhardt makes his pass. Terry might just get the easy pass and follow right underneath there.
Question is, are they doing anything to dent that lead that Rusty Wallace has at the present time as we watch this fight for second?
I'm sure running side by side, they're probably losing ground to Rusty.
Sure, this is exactly what Rusty Wallace needs, is for the guys behind him to be racing. By the same token, they've got no choice. They've got to go at it if they have any hope at all to win this race. Laps are winding down. Less than 75 to go.
And there's a little thing called the point battle, a little bonus, $1 million or more at the end of the season. So those two right there are in it pretty heavy. Earnhardt wants to break that mark of 7. Richard Petty, 100 races in his career, 7 championships, national titles. Earnhardt trying to best that mark this season. Fell back to 4th. He was up on top back in June. Now he's coming back up through the points, and for the moment, he's come back around Gordon.
And Earnhardt's driving as well as he has ever driven in his entire career. The thing that's hurt Earnhardt this year, he's got 2 TNFs, but he's also got a bunch of races where he's finished at the back of the pack. He's got a 25th and 19th. He was 20th in the July Pocono race, 22nd in New Hampshire, 23rd at the Glen. That's what's hurt him. Yeah. Earnhardt's as sharp as he ever was, and that crew is as sharp as they ever were.
It's about 4 seconds between that leader, Wallace.
Tell you how fast Rusty is running. He just put our 9th place car down a lap, Ken Schrader.
Randy is with that crew chief.
Well, this team, Robin, you've had a lot of good runs this year, but not a lot of good luck. Can it hold out for you tonight?
Yeah, the fuel issue's out of the way for a change, and the car's doing pretty good. So We've only had to adjust on it in the first stop, and we'll see. We've still got the 5 back there, 24 and 3. They're pretty good cars. We'll have to ride it out.
Hey, you didn't run in the last practice session. How come, and maybe are you glad?
He didn't have to. He said he was ready, and when he's ready, he's ready.
Okay, I guess so. I have to throw in that if they win this thing, we're going to have a great time on the lake tonight tomorrow. But if they don't, we'll just have a time on the lake.
They are brothers, Randy Pemberton, your announcer on pit road. Robin Pemberton, the crew chief.
Ford has only won 4 races this year, going for number 5 with Rusty Wallace. Wallace has one of those wins for Ford in 1995. Trying for a second at Richmond International Raceway in the Miller Genuine Draft 400. Time 3:38 complete. 8 cars in the lead lap. Wallace, Earnhardt, Terry Labonte, Gordon, Jarrett, Hamilton, Rudd 7th, Andretti on the tail end of that lead lap in 8th. Continuing to watch the fight for second spot. Earnhardt there in the number 3, followed by defending champion Terry Labonte. Interval between first and second has been cut to 3 8/10. It was 4 1/2 a little while ago. So they're chewing up a little on Wallace's advantage in this race. Terry Labonte seems very comfortable running. He is. Now he's moving to the inside just as smooth as Terry Labonte has always been. Wonder what Andy Petrie is thinking right now as he gets ready to run with the new team with the Jacksons next year. Wonder what's going through.
Well, that's a good question. Ken will ask him, hey, you're reeling in Rusty, but a caution would help, but can you get him before this race closes?
Well, I don't know. It just depends on how the run goes. That's all they good. That 5 car looks like it's pretty good right now. You know, it's hard to tell.
Okay, that's the thoughts of Andy Petrie. A caution would certainly help, but as we said, we've had a touch on him. He's reeling him in, but how hard is Rusty running right now?
342 of 400 now complete. Earnhardt earns himself about a 1-car length advantage over Terry Labonte. Gordon still 4th, Dale Jarrett 5th, Bobby Hamilton 6th, Rudd 7th, Andretti 8th, 9th a lap down to Schrader, followed by Musgrave 10th, and Ward Burton in 11th. There's your leader. Trying to put another lap on Ward Burton. You know, incentive to win things out here. The sponsor of that car number 2 put $5,000 down for the cerebral. Whoa! Bouncing. Keep that thing smooth and gliding.
It's good to see Rusty's taking it easy right now.
Yeah, he's obviously comfortable in the lead, isn't he?
Sponsor put $5,000 down for the Cerebral Palsy Association and said, we'll put 5,000 more down. We'll sign a check if our driver can win. They went over and told Rusty that, and he said, you better write the check now before the race because I'm going to go out there and do it. Apparently, he took it to heart.
He must have been confident. We heard a report earlier he didn't even go out the last practice. That's a confident driver with a good race car.
And that's Earnhardt a lot of times. He'll quit, you know, run a couple of laps in happy hour and say, hey, this is okay.
Well, by the same token, the practice sessions today were run under a hot afternoon sun. Look at this change of position. Labonte
for second place.
And right now we're running under the lights. It's a whole different racetrack, and you can adjust yourself right out of the show by practicing on a hot day when you're going to race under the stars.
Dead right, because you got a stable track for the whole show here tonight. It doesn't change once they drop that flag. The track may get a little cooler, but it's not like that afternoon stuff, right, Chad?
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier with the track wanting to be a little bit loose in the heat, and then tonight it's cool and the track tightens up. So do we loosen it up and go too far, or do we hit it right? Rusty probably said, hey, I don't want to go out right now. The track's hot. This car felt good. I'm going to leave it alone, and it's ready for tonight.
Waltrip said after the truck race, that halftime intermission, I said, gee, you ran a great first half. And they have that halftime break. And he said, yeah, the only problem is that darn intermission. He says, you always know you can make it run a little better. He said, I ran myself right out of the race. I needed Frank Rader, his father-in-law, here to help me. Pardon? Okay. We are up to lap 3:49, 1 lap, and we'll have 50 to go. And look at this, still going on.
Well, this is when Labonte went under Earnhardt. They go down into turn number 3, and Labonte didn't slide up this time, so Earnhardt could pull his old move and get underneath him. He stayed down low, and Earnhardt stuck in third.
A nice job on the brakes to be as smooth as that and be able to hold the car down. But look at Labonte's putting some distance between himself and Earnhardt. Are we going to see Labonte win another one of these things from the back?
No, the question is, with 50 laps remaining, we're on lap 350 right now. Can Labonte catch Wallace? That's a long ways to go under green. I think we need a caution for that to happen.
I don't know. He's done some pretty impossible things so far. He won the spring race at the spring race here at Richmond, starting 24th. At Pocono, he won after starting 27th. Last year, he won Phoenix after starting 19th.
3:04
Look at
second. He's closing in.
Yeah, look at him go.
2 laps ago, it was 3 and 8. Now it's 3 and 4. 3.4. Last year's finish in this race, Terry Labonte won it with Gordon second, Earnhardt third. Tonight, Wallace out in front at the moment. Wallace was 4th in last year's race. Wallace is leading right now with Terry Labonte second, Earnhardt and Gordon. It's the same quartet. Just a different guy singing bass.
Yeah, I think somebody forgot to tell Labonte that when you start in another zip code from the pole sitter, you're not supposed to win the race. He just passes cars, and you get toward the end of the race, and here he is again.
So Terry Labonte is closing down on Rusty Wallace as we close down on the completion of the 38th annual Miller Genuine Draft 400. Glorious sight here tonight, the Richmond International Raceway from the steel aerial platform. Into the last 40 laps and another lap or 2 here. Getting down to the end of this one tonight. We'll be up to 360 next time by and 40 to go. There's your leader, Rusty Wallace, tucked right in behind his brother, Kenny Wallace. 4 cautions, pretty clean. 30 laps that way tonight under yellow. 15 changes among 7 drivers in tonight's race. Nemechek in the 87 about to go down the lap. Take a look at the 18 and 94 story here for a moment. Bill Elliott fighting with Bobby Labonte back in 15th position. Elliott there. See Rudd in that group. Remember, he is in 7th in the lead lap, number 10.
Good shot of Bill's in-car camera there, looking back at the Ricky Rudd car and the Robbie Labonte car.
Hey, in the last 3 laps, Rusty Wallace has picked up a little. He was 3.3. He's gone back to a 3.5 advantage over the second-place campaigner, Labonte.
Rusty got through some traffic and then was encountered by Labonte, so it's kind of a, shake me, shake you, got to get through it, your turn now, buddy.
Traffic making the difference in those times, so they're pretty steady between the two.
Shortage of caution flags has spread this field out considerably, so the leader has been in traffic for a long time, and so has Terry Labonte. Everybody seems to have somebody in front of them they're trying to put down a lap. Right now, John Andretti is in danger of going down a lap in that number 37 car.
8th place car.
Yeah.
Rusty Wallace says he's going drag racing next year. Pro stock. You hear about that?
What?
Yeah, he is. He's going to get together with Paul Candies. They're going to form a team. They're looking for drivers. I hear they're talking to Rusty Glidden. They got Ricky Smith in mind. Maybe Kirk Johnson. Have you ever been in drag racing?
No, well, not since the high school days. But I guess, someone like Rusty just doesn't have enough things to do.
You thought all those Air Wallace, they had enough airplanes to keep him. But no, he went out and says, hey, that's the hot trick. He wants pro stock.
Well, that's a switch. We've had so many drag guys come in here into stock car racing. Now I guess it's time for some of the stock car guys to go drag racing.
So there you see Andretti. Very close to falling off that lead lap right now. He'd like a caution at this moment.
Yeah, you sure would.
8th place, but still an excellent run for Franifus Haas and Tim Brewer's effort.
He's got every right to stay out there, but once Rusty gets underneath him or over the top of him, he'll just let him go. He's not going to mess with the leader, I'm sure.
Schrader back in 9th, the lap down. Musgrave 10th. Ward Burton 11th. Rick Mass 12th. Jeff Burton 13th. And then it's Martin 14th. Elliott 15th. Bobby Labonte 16th. Kenny Wallace 17th. Dick Trickle is 18th. 19th would be Brett Bodine and Darrell Waltrip. Whoa! The top 20.
Rusty got that thing bobbling coming off the corner, trying to get a good shot on John Andretti.
Close call coming up to take another look at Ward Burton and the number 5 car, Terry Labonte, trying to move underneath.
You can see him driving off of turn 4 there, and it looks like Ward got a little sideways, got in the throttle a little too hard, and could have collected Terry in that one. That would not have been very good.
Like Saturday night at the dirt track races, hanging the tail end out like that.
Here we go back to those open wheel dirt races.
Yeah.
So Wallace gets around John Andretti, puts him a lap back. Goes to work on Bobby Labonte. Bobby's told by his spotter that he's there, and he moves over nicely for him. And Rusty Wallace drawing away now. People beginning to work in Wallace's favor. Back to over 4 seconds between first and second place. Rusty Wallace and defending champion Terry Labonte. The 3-time winner of this race. Wallace trying to make it 4.
At 3:57, the interval was 3.22 seconds. Now it's 4.20 seconds. So it took a full 10 laps for Rusty to gain a second on Labonte. Here's Labonte. You can see how close he is.
These later stages of the race, it's really hard for a driver to keep his concentration right now, especially when the cars aren't quite right. Your neck is extremely tired. Richmond is very hard on the driver's neck because of the D-shaped front straightaway. Legs are getting tired, arms and so on. And the cars that are working good, it's not quite so bad. So Rusty and those guys running up in front, you know, they're in a real good zone and they're running good. But the guys right back in the middle and the cars aren't quite handling good. This is the kind of the late stages of the race where you might see an accident develop because the drivers lose his concentration.
The tires are tired too, so that goes into the mix. Makes it very easy between driver fatigue and tire fatigue for something to happen.
Like him or dislike him, Earnhardt always seems good in the end of these races.
In the beginning, in the middle.
Yeah, but I mean, he always does not mentally seem to wear out these things.
Nope. He just doesn't seem to get tired at all, does he? Rusty either. When they get all done with the races and jump out of the cars and you look at him, you think they'd be exhausted. But they look just as fresh as when they first got into the car. That's physical preparation, mental preparation, and experience as well.
You know, I think one other factor, too, that we don't talk about very often, that is how relaxed the veteran drivers are inside their race car. They're so comfortable, whether they're passing somebody outside, inside, whether they're 3 abreast or whatever, they're always so comfortable, they're relaxed. And, you know, when your muscles are relaxed, when you're thinking more clearly, you're also not using as much energy as you would normally if you're tensed up.
It's one of the big keys to racing these days is making the guy that's in the cockpit as comfortable as you possibly can. Hey, folks, I think we'll take a break right here, then stay with you right through to the finish as we get a caution, as we watch the runoff of this one with Rusty Wallace, commander. "22 laps remaining, and Rusty Wallace has just put a lap on Ricky Rudd, the 7th place car, as he begins to hone him real tight. This one looks like Wallace all the way, unless something untoward happens, and heaven knows we've seen a few of those. Now there's 2nd place. That's Terry Labonte, who's won the last 2 400-lap races on this track that continues to grow and expand. This Richmond International Raceway. There's Earnhardt.
Right behind Terry. I mean, that interval hasn't changed very much. But the one between Rusty and Labonte remains at about 4 seconds. It's going to be tough. We're down to 20 laps left. It's going to be tough for Labonte to make up that difference. I think Rusty's got this one in the bag, providing, you know, nothing happens. We don't have a caution, or we don't have a mechanical deal to go on in the end.
20 laps to go for Rusty Wallace to become a 4-time winner here at Richmond International Raceway in this event. Trying to put a lap on Bill Elliott another time in the 94 car.
Doing a wiggle coming off the corner. It's got to be hard to hang on to right now.
You can tell how good Rusty's car is still working, though. They're coming up on 100 laps on these tires, and he's still staying right on the very bottom of the racetrack. You can tell he's getting a lot of good bite coming off the corner.
His brakes were cherry red going into that first corner. You could see it in that shot.
Look at Dale Jarrett. going after Gordon here.
And this is for fourth. He's going to get him.
Maybe a little go-ahead deal going on there. What do you think? It looked like Gordon gave that up. But it might just be that he's been running the tires off that car, and he knew Dale was coming.
And Dale's there. Dale Jarrett picks up the spot on Jeff Gordon. That's for fourth. Gordon falls to fifth. I think he'd want to give it away with 17 laps to go in this event.
Jarrett from 27th spot up to fourth. What a run.
Yeah. And Gordon had pitted maybe 10 laps earlier than Jarrett on that last pit stop. Did that make that much difference in those tires?
Probably not if they have 60 or 70 laps on them, but, you know, it could make a little bit. I think if you're getting this many laps on them, a 10-lap difference in pitting isn't make that much of a difference.
Mark Martin in the 14th position, car number 6. And they announced today that now there are 2 other drivers, a 3-team deal, and I thought Martin handled his press conference very well. Everyone said, now, how do you feel about having a 3rd teammate? And he said, you know, if I were an owner, I would want probably to do the same thing with success Jack Roush. He says, I can understand as an owner. But he never said really how he felt as a driver. I still don't think he likes it.
Well, I kind of read between the lines there a little bit, and he said, I'll be the first one to congratulate Ted Musgrave when he wins a race. He also kind of said that I'll make sure that the team is clicking, there's no jealousies, and I'll speak out if there is.
Yes, and he believes it, too.
Well, everybody's looking at Rick Hendrick's organization and seeing the tremendous success that they have had by sharing information, and that's a key element to it.
Sharing 7th place, Ricky Rudd and Michael Andretti for the moment. Here's Ricky Rudd trying to come around, and this is a lap down between these two. 7th place is available. John Andretti hooks it to the bottom and holds it there. Nice easy line by Ricky Rudd up on the outside, who's tasted victory here in the spring race. John Andretti stays right on him. 7th place. And here comes Bobby Hamilton under Gordon. So Gordon is no question about it. He's got some problems with those tires as he continues to back up. That puts Bobby Hamilton up into 5th spot.
And he's not just giving this stuff away. No question.
It just goes to prove you don't have to like a racetrack to run well on. This is not one of the favorite tracks in the Hamilton scrapbook, but he sure runs it beautifully. I think it makes me work harder. Down to 10 laps to go. There's Darrell Waltrip in the 17. Still out there, still giving it a go.
Gordon's responsibility here will be to keep that car in one piece for these last 10 laps so nothing goes wrong. Protect that points lead no matter what.
21st position for Waltrip. Keeps it on the bottom, and here comes Ricky Rudd closing in for another time on John Andretti in their struggle for 7th. Meanwhile, up in front, Rusty Wallace. Only once since his '89 championship has Rusty Wallace been out of the top 10 here at Richmond. 13 races.
That's a pretty phenomenal statistic when you think about it. One time in that many years that he's been out of the top 10 at this race.
Top 5 11 times. There he is.
There's the 3 right car. Back up with Labonte. Might have a race here for second as we come down to the last few laps.
4 1/10 seconds to the leaders. So Rusty Wallace has him covered. For 2nd spot, Terry Labonte and Earnhardt.
You saw in that aerial shot how Labonte took his car right out to the wall. Earnhardt followed him right out there. That's kind of dangerous territory with tires as tired as these are.
Tired tires.
Yep. Pooped. Look at that. I mean, really, there's just nothing there between the wall and Labonte's car except a little tiny bit of air, but he just gets it right out there, and that is a reflection of a lot of skill and a lot of courage, too.
Great shot. Just him and his shadow out there, and that shadow shrinks when he gets to the wall.
Well, that shadow hits the wall
shrinks
every
back
lap.
under the car is what it does. Terry Labonte in 2nd spot, and Earnhardt in 3rd, and Rusty Wallace has driven his shoes up out here tonight to get himself up through the field, make himself a candidate to win it, came from 7th, was much further back, fought his way up with 5 to go. You've really got to have a roll of the dice that's snake eyes or boxcars to lose from here, huh?
Well, something's got to happen for Rusty to lose the lead, but by golly, second spot is long from decided, and here is the race for second right here with Terry Labonte, who had won 2 in a row in Winston Cup here at Richmond, currently holding it. Earnhardt looking for that position. Just 4 to go.
And Earnhardt nipping away in that old point battle. Yeah, he may have come in 294 down, but he's been that far down before when you got to Dover. The season is far from over. Hey, don't forget to be with us here in October. Be at Charlotte, North Carolina on the 8th. It'll be a great show. 500 miles.
Yeah.
And you'll see it on TBS. Now we are with those final
Those Earnhardt making a move. He got a great bite coming off of turn number 2.
And you could see just a little bit of a struggle. Swirling was number 5 for just a moment, and that's all Earnhardt needs. He comes up even.
We'll probably run side by side like this down to the wire.
Earnhardt with 2 wheels under the yellow line.
Terry Labonte right back up. Look at that. A little more RPM as you go in. A little better bite on the inside coming out. Nice. What it's all about.
Yep. This is Saturday night stock car racing right here.
White flag is down. Those leaders. White flag is out. Wallace is going to come home. Battle is right here. Labonte and Earnhardt decided for second position. Checkers about to fly for the 4th time and 41st Winston Cup victory coming out for Rusty Wallace. But the story is right here, and there he is waving as he crosses the line. And the battle for second at the stripe. How about Terry Labonte? Gordon now has a 279-point lead over Earnhardt. Wallace 7th in the points as they came in tonight. Gordon first career win. Oh, boy, that looked like. Let's get downstairs to Rick Benjamin quickly here.
All right, thank you, Ken. The Plasticoat Winning Finish Award will go to the crew chief of car number 2. Rusty Wallace, the winner tonight here at Richmond, the Miller Genuine Draft 400. And Plasticoat, the winning finish of NASCAR. And let's meet the crew chief of car number 2. Steve Burns,
we
are you
got
there?
a bath down here, folks, on pit road. We're a little bit wet, I guess. Now, your brother said you're going to have a big time on the lake tomorrow, but you're already wet.
Yeah, I've been called worse than that, I guess. We're going to have a good time tomorrow. I had a great time tonight. This is how the season should be going all along. We've just had a real rough year so far, and everybody did a great job. This means a lot. It really does to the team and everybody here.
Thanks, Robin. Let's go to Rick Benjamin.
Congratulations to Robin Pemberton and the entire 2-car crew. Plasticoat, the official spray paint of NASCAR, proud to sponsor the Winning Finish Award. And Plasticoat presents $2,000 to the crew chief of the winning car, the highest finishing Winston Cup team participating in Plasticoat's award program. At the end of the year, the crew chief with the best average finish wins $25,000 from Plasticoat. We'll talk to Rusty Wallace when we get back. Welcome back to Richmond International Raceway. The checkered flag has fallen tonight. The Miller Genuine Draft 400, and Rusty Wallace has taken his Ford to victory lane. I want to show you the liquid wrench slickest move of the race tonight. This goes to the 3-car, and Dale Earnhardt will show you what happened. There was trouble on the racetrack. Couple of cars tangled in front. Look at the move Dale Earnhardt makes to go low and get by the cars of Jeremy Mayfield and Todd Bodine in that situation. The liquid wrench slickest move of the race goes indeed tonight to Dale Earnhardt and the 3 team, and our congratulations to that team and that driver. Rusty Wallace happy to win tonight. Randy Pemberton standing by in victory lane.
Well, Rusty Wallace celebrating already. Rusty, hard to believe, 16 races since you've been to victory lane. It was Martinsville, but I had to say you had him covered tonight. Great job in the car.
Well, thank you very much. I mean, yeah, it's been a long drive spell, but I'll tell you, this Miller Genuine Draft Ford has really been strong the whole time. I mean, we've been leading a lot of races, you know, almost won the Brickyard, almost won this, almost won that, but today we got everything together. I'd like to thank Robin for a great job he's done with the crew and good pit stops, and I'd like to thank all my sponsors, Fleetwood RVs and Mobile and Miller and Bosch and Ford Motor Company. Finally got a win for those guys, but it wasn't easy. So just a great day. I'd like to thank everybody, and time to go home. Hello, Patty. I see you in a little bit.
You're 5 out of 15 races since this track has been reconfigured here. A great percentage at this place.
Well, you know, we work hard. We don't lay around. You know, we work hard on our shock program. We work hard on our aerodynamics. We're operating at a pretty big deficit this year, and we had to really work hard to overcome that. But I'm proud of all the guys. They did a good job.
Thanks for winning. We're going to have a good time at the lake tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to go to the lake tomorrow. We're going to splash up the water tomorrow, I'll tell you that.
Rusty Wallace, victorious here at the Richmond International Raceway.
And Rusty Wallace certainly worked hard himself tonight to score the victory here at Richmond.